And we're back with the recap, another challenge, All-Stars recap at that. Challenge All-Stars number 2. I'm randomly Ronnie Jr. along with my brother. What's up, Richard? How are you feeling?
What up?
I asked specifically, how are you feeling? Not what's up. And your answer should never be what up. It should be like, yeah, I'm feeling all right. I'm ready to talk about this show. You said, what up? Who are you?
Hold on. Were you talking? I fell asleep during that intro.
Why? You think it was boring? Richard, how could you let me do a nearly 20-year radio career and talk about it's boring? How could you? Anyways, Richard's really funny.
I think it's just because you've always done the talking for me.
Yes. See, the thing about this show, which is really great, another random recap, is it is two brothers doing a podcast, okay? But the two brothers specifically have a ton of different interests, I think the biggest thing since sliced bread for you might be like going to SoFi Stadium and watching I suppose a football game, right? For me, the biggest
great experience.
The biggest for me would be like a Janet Jackson concert, and I don't know that my brother would like to go to a Janet Jackson concert.
She only has one rhythm. And it's
stop it. Stop. Listen, I mean, don't slander the Rhythm Nation.
It was good. Come on, I knew the song.
So I'm giving the duality of what makes our show good. We've done other.
She has brothers, right?
Oh goodness, this one, the brother that. So, anyways, another random recap works really well. I've said it over before, but I'll say it again. Is that a lot of times within my radio career, I've or broadcast or television or whatever work I've done, I've not lived locally to my brother. So we would have grown up in Southern California together, but I'd been in Arizona, I've been in Vegas, New York specifically for 7 years. So it's really great when you have two brothers who could get along but don't have a lot of same similarities just in the way we live life. So this Challenge All-Stars has really been a bit of a bonding moment. It's been like the one key piece where it's like, oh, did you see what Jasmine did? Or, oh, look who they casted for season 2 of the All-Stars. Or, wow, I didn't think MJ would ever come back to All-Stars. Or, oh, did you see? Oh, is Coral coming back? Like, it's just a show
look
that
you being sentimental.
Well, I'm just trying to break down what it is, because there's the reason we call this another random recap is because for 2 reasons, actually. There's tons of recaps of the Challenge All-Stars everywhere. I'm just trying to set aside why ours is a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like where it comes from. You are a super fan of the show. You've watched every bit of the show. I more want to talk about who's got good confessionals, who's funny, who's gonna like parlay this into a career.
Richard just wants to see who wins.
Richard's more like on the strategy side. But we have bits and pieces of each other's personalities too. I of course want to see who wins, and of course Richard sometimes will be like, "Dang, did you see such and such? They were kind of funny." Or, "Oh wow, I didn't know Johnny Bananas booked the NBC show." Like, so
I won't admit to
it. We very much have a bit of a crossing over within personalities, but this show is sort of one of the things that ties us together. So Challenge All-Stars made sense for us to do. Anyways, on today's episode here, it's going to be sort of compounding everything together. The Challenge All-Stars episode, check this out, episode 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Episode 8?
Yeah, so we are compounding everything together. And trying to get in all these episodes because such as life, schedules get different and get busy. And it's just kind of one of those things where we wanted to still make sure we covered the show, had some fun talking about all the cast members. Often when we'll tweet with the cast members or whatever, they'll get a kick out of our show. And it's just something we wanted to keep on doing. Richard does not come from radio, but he's so good at this shit because he likes the TV show so much. And when he's right, I'm wrong. And when I'm wrong, he's right, kind of a deal. And that's what makes it great. So I say, let's start off some more.
So half of us is right all the time.
Something like that. You get it. And stop saying I'm being sentimental. Who said I didn't sign up for sentimental? Fuck that shit.
Do you want a hug?
No, not from you. Let's start it off talking about our show that we both enjoy, sitting on the couch, watching Paramount Plus, the Challenge All-Stars season number 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Here is episode number 4. No, okay. So it takes us back to old MTV days. But anyways, Challenge All-Stars, we are doing episode 4 here of season 2. We're coming back from Jody and Kahutta. They're back in the house. They're with their life shield. I told you that I don't know how I feel about life shield specifically. I feel like it's a twist that's maybe too much of a twist, but you feel okay with them, correct?
Well, I feel like it's a twist, but
It's
it's burn it every time. If you come from the world of Survivor, you burn like idols, or you burn votes or stuff like that. So there's ways around it if you know the game, where it's really not that much of an advantage.
That's why I feel like it's such a silly thing to win. You're like, you won something that ends up being burnt, but you have it. And I mean, I guess in some way, like Big Brother, somebody could save themselves and take themselves off the block. But for the most part, I think we got enough going on with the 2 winners winning, 4 people going up to selection, who's going to vote who for selection. And then even if the losing teams have alliances, like it's already a lot going on. Anyways, they come back with the life shield. They're happy. I'm kind of like, life shield boring, but I'm happy for Kahutta. I'm happy for Jody. They get back in the house. And I could tell you, Richard, that alliances are definitely being born at this stage, episode 4. Like you could see it. We had so many cast members. The good and the bad of that is that lots of cast members are great. There's a couple of dead weight, so to speak, but the foreshadowing of alliances is definitely hitting right when Jody and Kahutta come back in the house.
Yeah, think about these All-Star seasons. They're almost like shotgun weddings kind of little thing. It's like 4 people get nominated instead of like 2, and then 2 people go home. Just a lot quicker pace. So it's people trying to build alliances quicker and stab people in the back a lot quicker than the normal regular show.
It's funny that you mentioned that it's very like shotgun-ish, as far as like very quick and very fast. But I love the way that you described it at the beginning. You're like, oh, it's like shotgun weddings. For all the beloved people that are excited to get married quickly, Richard's like, no. Look at how terrible that idea is.
Shotgun beers too, those go quick.
Right. Okay. So there's a good, you found your way out of it. But you're right. It's 4 people going up, it just changes the game so much. And the thing about it is, like, even if I'm sitting pretty and I'm a good cast member, great competitor, great social game, who's to say my closest friend or my closest ally, not even for the game's sake, but like my out of the competition friend, maybe they're not that good. So having 4 people up is, like you say, it's like a shotgun wedding.
Yeah. Well, it's less time. You don't have time to like strategize as much. The game's just moving a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Within these people kind of aligning really fast, MJ, Darrell, Kahutta, Derek, and Brad seem to be really, really tight. Latarian speaks up about being wanting to play the game smart and start looking at the numbers and the votes, which is good. He seems to be in kin with Nehemiah, Steve, Tech, and Melinda. Latarian was one of the cast members I was the most excited about, because I feel like season 1 he went out too early. So I'm really paying attention to what game he's playing. Like, I really am interested to see where he's going to go with this, because you don't see these people for 16 years and he was on the road rules at that. I'm interested. Maybe he's somebody that I would have thought would fly under the radar, and maybe he's actually not going to fly under the radar. It could be one of those things.
Well, I think he comes a lot from last season, just he was out of the game for so long and getting to know people and really enjoying the game, and coming back this second season. He's always in competition mode, but now it seems like he's more in game mode of strategy and stuff like that. And it looks like it's more of a room thing that is forming. Like, obviously the people you room with are people you want to be around. It's just easier to strategize without distractions from other people outside your alliance if you're in the same room.
Yeah. And always think one step ahead. Think about who's in your room, but think about who's your long-term friend. See how that's going to work, how it's going to play, how you're going to make them think something so you could get the votes. So
yeah,
there's a lot going on.
You could get a mole in a different room to give you some information.
Yeah, totally.
Cute. Yeah.
One good thing too is I like the developing nemesis of Derek and Nehemiah. They're definitely the frenemies of the show, of the episode. They're fun because they both, I think you and I have talked about it too. Like when you're used to watching the challenge, the regular season, and like, Devin's really loud or and such a great like soundbite vocal confessional guy. Johnny Bananas, everyone's kind of trying to vie at that spot for who's going to be this polarizing character. So Derek and Nehemiah as frenemies, I liked it. I don't have a preference of either. Do you like either of the two? Because or is it just more like fun to watch?
It's always fun to watch two people go head to head and battle it out and decide or what. And Derek, with his main podcast, he has a lot of these people go on his shows, and just whether because of interviewing them or whatnot, I'm sure he builds some relationships with them. Right. And if you're not with them, I mean, that's a dangerous person to have around the house. If you're in Nehemiah's and if you're not connected with them,
Well, that's a good and the bad thing. That's why I like when you have cast members like 52-year-old Steve, who doesn't like, he's almost delusional to that sort of a concept, because the good and the bads are, yeah, when you have someone like Derek who's so connected through his post-show connections and rapport with people do start to be like, bending over backwards to suffice him because his relationships are strong. So it's always, to me, kind of funny to see like Steve, who had called him out about dressing the way he was wearing his romper.
Was it Chubby's? Shout out to Chubby's, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I love a romper. I'm not knocking the romper, especially if you have a good body. I think he was just ribbing at Derek. And that's what is fun, because on the one hand, you make such a great point. Derek's so strong relationship wise because of his outside podcast and how he has those relationships. But then to that, then you end up having this game sometimes where people are just like afraid to ruffle the feathers of someone else. No, we like old school challenge where everyone ruffled the feathers and the chubbies. So the challenge is called Bright Skies. And then there's like this element of like, who's afraid of heights? We, of course, instantly think of Casey, who, they do the flashback. Bright Skies is a trivia game. Richard, I think the last time we were talking, there was another version of like, it wasn't trivia, but it was questions. And I don't think Twitter even liked it. I can't recall if that was the challenge, the regular season or the Allstars, but it really doesn't matter. What I
think it was like a true false or something. The best part about trivia is when people don't know the answer and they obviously make themselves, what's the nicest way to put it? Not smart.
Showcasing you're not smart. Yeah. It just, because I was worried, because on the last time that, and I don't know how in tune the numbers are and production is to like, if a challenge works, if it works for the show and for filming, but like, let's say the audience doesn't like it. I do remember the audience really not liking one of the past challenges that was in the vein of like asking questions, very similar to trivia. So I was like,
trivia is usually one of the go-to challenges that people do look forward to, and to have any backlash, it's like no, let's go back to the original.
And not backlash like, something was wrong. Backlash in the vein of like, people were like, ooh, this was not done that well. Like it wasn't interesting. And what I'm going to say as a comment, a good comment, this one was done interestingly. I thought this one was very good. And I liked the questions. Richard, I was going to say my favorite part about it was that it was a hot potato style of thing. Like, you would pick a topic and then you would have to add Bruce Willis movies, and you Die Hard, and you just have to keep going. I thought that is something that hopefully they implement many times in the future.
Yeah, that's always good, because you can leave it open-ended, and sometimes people mess up just because you get nervous and you're up there and the wind's probably blowing and you're like, even if it was like, hey, what's NFL teams? There's 32 of them, but by the time you get to 5 or 6, you're like, and you're saying the same teams just because of nervousness.
Listen, the reason this show's so good, and we still have some production issues, of course, whatever, but the reason it works at its core is because Richard and
production.
Oh, look at you talking shit already. What's great is that
fireworks and all.
We have fireworks and all. We have two different walks of life because yes, we're brothers and we get along on this show, but our interests are so different. So it's funny. Richard goes 5 NFL teams. I'm like, shit, I can't name 5 NFL teams. Standing that high, I'd get nervous. I know the Chargers who you like, but I can't keep going. Whereas if there was J-Lo songs, I might go a lot further than you. But
I'm out.
You're out. Richard's like, let's get loud. That's it. Waiting
I'm
for
real.
tonight. Yeah, waiting for tonight.
Ooh, there we go.
See, we should make it the game. But you do make a point though, when you're up there, and even if it's your thing, like if it's NFL for you, or if it's J-Lo songs for me, or Janet Jackson
or
songs
J-Lo
for
boyfriend or husbands or something like that.
Don't you do her like that. What the?
Ooh.
This one, he has the nerve, Richard, my brother. You got the nerve.
Bennifer, right? They're back.
Just leave them alone, okay? I'm gonna put you as high as Casey was and make you answer
sequel
questions.
Is always better than the. No.
You made a good point though about this challenge called Bright Skies, because even if you know something very well, you don't necessarily you can't necessarily perform because there is a lot of pressure, and not even the pressure of just being up there, but the pressure of like having
not
to guess
repeating something that someone's already said. So you're trying to keep that count, and then you're trying to keep the next one. And then if someone takes your answer right away, woo.
Yeah, that'd
be quick.
How about the times where they do things like, Ghostbusters 1, 2, and then you're like, is there a Ghostbusters 3? Like it is harder than I think it looks. Quick question to you. Katie quits immediately. I want to get your thoughts, and then I have an opinion, because you like TJ, you don't really like quitters. What are your thoughts?
I mean, with Katie, it's you almost expect it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you don't like quitters, but what you do like about Katie is her saying, well, you know what? I will go in. I don't like a quitter who just quits and like doesn't want to get put into the duel or whatever, what are they calling the
arena? I think
the elimination.
Yeah,
the arena. So at least she's like, all right, throw me in the arena. I'm not going to do this, but throw me in the arena. Where some people are like, I'm not going to do this, and then try to get out of it, and like she'll at least step up to it. So obviously you don't like it, but at least she's willing to put her feet in the dirt.
Yeah, I guess if you're in that situation, and we can't talk trash because we all have our things. We all have our go-getter attitudes, but we all have our boundaries. We're like, I absolutely am not going to do this. But you're right, you have to pay the toll. And she did have a certain chutzpah about her where she was like, yeah, I'm going in. Let's go. Like, who gives a shit? And that was actually good to see. The part that I really like to see too was how Casey in another challenge is so scared and quits. And then she's able to redeem herself. And that, I think, is, as far as the flashback that they showed us, that is what I love about the challenge. You could have a Katie moment today, but in 2 challenges later, you could have your redeeming Casey moment and win the whole damn thing. Did you expect Casey to win? I mean, that seems so out of the blue, in my opinion.
It is good.
Richard's like,
I'm thinking about Fresh Meat when Casey started, and she was with Wes, and
he was mean to her,
too wrong and stuff. So yeah, I mean, there is something nice to. She's always said, "No, I'm not the best athlete. No, I'm not going to win this. Not going to do that." And it was good to see her kind of like, "Oh, I did. I won a challenge." And the way she won the challenge was, it seemed like it was fit for John A. Mm-hmm. But you got to that last question was about Harry Potter, I believe, the 7 books and stuff. And John A's like, I've seen them all. I got them. I've read them all 4 times each. And she couldn't get the last one. So, like, to see Casey get through it, you could see a little bit of happiness. I mean, I do have somewhat of a soul, so I don't want to. I do want to see some people win when they've gone years. I mean, this is probably 15 years in the making.
Yeah,
someone to get their first one.
You do have a soul, and you just like, I think you of course love athleticism, but not everyone's going to be that strong. Not everyone's going to be a Jody, not everyone's going to be a Darrell. what you like is effort. So I think you're really a fan of a competitor who shows up to compete. And you have a little more sympathy in that regard. I mean, not to knock, but like we knew Leah wasn't good and she goes home first, but at least she had that really vulnerable moment where she just, you could laugh all you want, but we like effort in this game. And I think that's kind of a unanimous thing. I think all do you disagree?
No, I agree.
Yeah, I think all the challenged fans, that's all they want. What they don't like, and we'll be talking about, is people that sort of, give up. That's kind of, well, TJ doesn't like it. And then if TJ doesn't like it, then Twitter doesn't like it.
No one likes it.
Real quick, I have two little notes before we move on. So the song where the guys were falling. Oh, last thing about this about this challenge. So I kind of agree with Katie though. Like, not that I would have given up, who knows? But my point is, I thought it was they could stay up there, but inevitably everyone's going down but the winner. So I could kind of see her point to say I'm going to come off and not do the competition. I thought it was
I mean, yeah, but first one down is going in for sure. If she could just stick it out and she's on the end.
Yeah, but
say someone gets out in like two people and she's the third person.
I know, but I'm just saying as a competitor,
I want to play. Say, sorry, TJ, I'm out.
I want to play a game where I potentially do stay up there, even if I guess it. You know what I mean? Like, remember the one last season where the floor just fell underneath them? I don't like games where you're inevitably falling. Like, you got to give me a chance where if my performance allots me, well, and I guess in some ways,
some people might say just win. Just win. You don't fall if you win.
Okay, we'll move on. I don't like you very much when you have the, okay, poor Katie. Fuck it. Let's
see it in your eyes. I don't know if anyone else can see it, but
this is vocal only, and they could hear it in my voice. Yes.
Just imagine the biggest sigh someone's ever shown.
Okay. Okay. Moving on. I was shut up. Richard, this is my brother.
That was a finger you're not allowed to use.
Shut up. I'm waving hi to you. Shut up. Okay, moving on. Songs when the guys were falling down were the Weather Girls. Martha Wash, of course, used to sing backup for Sylvester. It's Raining a Man, so it's a fascinating song. Nehemiah was the first one to drop, and then they just kept running the sound bites and the questions and the confessionals, and then every time someone fell, it was like, it's Raining a Man. It was fantastic, which begged me the question, Richard, should they have done a woman's song intertwined the exact same way? Now, I don't know what you think, but I'm going to toss the song to you, and you tell me if this would have worked. If I was scoring this episode, if I was doing the soundtrack, I would have chose when the women were doing the thing, kind of like you said. Janae says, oh, I know all the Harry Potters, and then all the people kept falling. I would have had the song go by, I think, Nelly, Drop Down and Get Your Eagle On, Girl. I think that's so smart. Why didn't nobody think of that, Richard? Is it what's up?
Yeah, you got the songs down. I don't know.
You could tell this is why we make a good challenge duo recap duo, because this is the kind of thing no one really cares about. They care about more the challenge, and I'm over here like, well, if they played It's Raining Men when the guys dropped, why didn't they play Drop Down and Get Your Eagle On, Girl when the girls dropped? This is what I care about.
I mean, it makes sense. And when a good song comes on and a good scene, you're like, heck yeah.
Anyways, I had been dying to tell you that since I watched the episode. I go, oh, why did they have a quintessential It's Raining Men drop for the guys, and then the girls could have had Drop Down and Get Your Eagle On, Girl. Just imagine if Ayana falls. Ayana probably has some type of a visual. Anything Ayana does in this whole competition is funny. I'm just saying I should be doing the score.
I mean, you say Nelly, all I can think of is Country Grammar or It's Getting Hot in Here.
Okay, let's move on. After the challenge,
get your eagle on, right? Or eagle down.
Speaking of eagles and dropping and all these things and all the wonderful things, Tina, with not necessarily a confessional, but with a quote, no less, she says, well, would you look at that camel toe? So this is Tina being fun Tina. And we do like to see it, because Tina's always unpredictable in this particular challenge. Linking things up here, we have our winners are Casey and Steve, and our losers are Katie and Brad. Everyone feels good about it. Because like you said, Katie said, shit, I got to go. Brad just unfortunately, he does great with all the physical competitions, but this was just not for him, which is fine.
Well, that question went on for a long time for the guys, which was double winners of the challenge, which I do kind of like when they ask questions of overall challenge.
Oh, you do?
Since they are challenge All-Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was who's name all the double, like at least 2-time winners. And they're all friends with all of them. So it went around quite a bit, but I mean, you drop first, you go in, buddy.
Drop down and get your eagle on, Brad. No.
Yeah, Brad, eagle on.
You're and that's a good question too. This is again why I like trivia, because you as a viewer, you get to consume like all these great nostalgic memories too of those winners. You're like, I don't know if you play it like that, but when you're watching, you're like, oh wait, I know the answer. Kind of play like you're playing yourself, I guess. Not playing yourself, but you're in on the game. So Steve wins. He has a chance to kind of see what the gameplay is going to be. He's going to is he going to take on Darrell, Derek, and Brad? They all have this knowledge of the life shield that's in play. Richard, how do you play it if you're Steve and Casey? Because Steve and Casey are deliberating, and they're basically, I guess, to my interpretation with the life shield at this point, and we kind of talked about it a bit ago. It could potentially be burnt, but at the same time, it's kind of like a way to backdoor somebody, right? Or how do you?
We're not 100% sure right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you burn it? Can you do this? It hadn't been done yet. Casey's really shooting for putting Jody up, I believe, thinking she will save Derek, so she's got to save herself. She can't take Derek down, and it seems to be Casey shooting for Derek and telling Steve that Derek put you up, so why won't we put him up? And kind of a way to go after him.
Right. And this is just like strategies that are sort of being developed or tested at this time.
Yeah, if you watch the Big Brothers or the Survivors, they're all similar type games. Some have vetoes, some have idols, and you want to burn one so someone can't use it, or you vote them out, or certain things like that. So you could see the little strategies from all these games. You could kind of use a little bit from each one.
I love how at this point though, it's Casey and Steve. They're more the playful types than the over strategy types. Making.
Were these the two you didn't like of the new season cast that you were saying?
No, I didn't say nothing about them. They're great. I think I actually do like Steve. I think I stated that I thought Steve is great because I love how he was able to rib Derek and not worry about is this going to mess up my rapport with him? It's just I think Steve is fun. I think you should have your off, non like offbeat. He's not offbeat, but he doesn't fit in with the typical challenge contestant. I think Steve's great.
Yeah, I was just talking about your season 1 versus season 2 battle.
I mean, okay, Richard notoriously knows that I think of the season 1 cast is better than the season 2. That's what I had thought, but I was also giving credit. I think I said it earlier on one of our other episodes where
get your eagle on.
Would you stop it? I'm just trying to say, this is my brother, younger brother. He's always been insignificant to me, so I feel like he's very challenged right now. he's trying to rib back, but you're not going to. Okay, Richard. I was just saying Casey and Steve are
stay
fun.
Focused for once, huh?
I'm very focused. There's many of RandomlyRJ.com episodes. Also, there's patreon.com/RandomlyRJ. You could support. So it doesn't get more focused than that. Okay. Got to do a quick promo, right? A nice little plug. So Casey, and Steve, they are the fun ones, and they make this pre-selection kind of cool. There are winners. But this poses like what to do, live show, not live show. I don't know. But ultimately, we have Kahutta, Kendall, Tyler, and Jody, who are the choices initially. Both live shields are used, which does ultimately set us up with Brad and Katie, who were, of course, our losers, going up against, who is it, Richard? Ayana and
Derek.
Yeah, which at one point,
so Derek, Brad, that's a big matchup.
Isn't that like a matchup that you're like, aren't they good friends? That's the first thing I thought of. So,
well, that's why they're in. I mean, coming from the other side, Casey was trying to put them against each other, since they weren't in her alliance.
Look at Casey being all smart.
She
Real quick
wins
before
one and boom, she's a mastermind.
all those years of or moments of Wes being mean to her, Casey's having a redemption. I was gonna say we're gonna get into the arena here, because who goes home is quite interesting to me. I want to get your thoughts. I did think for 1 nanosecond it was playful and it was nice that Nehemiah did the Brad beard, because this is a little bit of the element of the house that we like. We like an enjoyable house. We like everyone, having fun. So I thought that was cool. Arena. Are you excited about who's going up, Richard?
Well, I think it's a solid but pretty easy front forward arena challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Carry weights across and do a puzzle. I mean, I like it. You see, Ayanna, she's been a beast already this season. So see if she could do it again against Katie. And then you got Derek and Brad, who are both known for being a beast in the arena.
Yeah, men's round, women's round. So Ayanna does, yes, you're right, defeat Katie. Katie did earlier in the episode. I think she had that moment where she was like, "I hope Steve knew what he was doing." Cute little comment, but Katie, unfortunately, I think was inevitably going to be going home today.
She almost gets that CT look in her eye when she's doing weights, like the Johnny Bananas backpack. Like I was just moving.
Just
moving
go for it. Sled. Yeah. Katie's fun to watch, and she's admirable for her effort too.
I've liked her comeback in these 2 All-Star seasons.
Me too. It's been enough time. Yeah. Derek and Brad, they're against each other. We get our lackluster Melinda confessional. Boy, that Melinda, she just is not that interesting most episodes.
Ooh, again at Melinda.
I sometimes when I do the recap, I'm less about the arena, but I'm like, who gives a bad confessional or a lackluster or uncompelling one? And that's who would have got the award today. Anyways, let's get back to the arena itself. Brad says he's fighting for his kids. Derek is essentially fighting for his mother. I like that little bit of pulling back the red carpet a little bit to kind of know what the reason is, hearing Leah with her son, in the college, tuition. I always like to know what it's about. And we know that Derek has the 2 kids.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, let's just get to it. I mean, Corey has kids, Tony has kids.
I said Derek has kids. I meant Brad has kids. Unless Derek does have kids. I don't know. Oh, yeah, he does have kids.
No, I'm just saying all the other ones.
You're making fun of Corey. Yeah, you're making fun of Corey. That's
Tony
what's happening.
Used to say the same. He's got family to raise.
Yeah, I know. You almost admirably would
all shout outs, all great competitors. So
you almost want somebody to say, I want this money because I want to get, a nice new vehicle. Or...
That's like Casey, and when she won, she's like, I got a new set of boobs. And
yeah.
Ashley Mitchell,
you want some
Mitchell.
You want who else? Oh, Ashley Mitchell. Yeah. You want somebody to say something like that. Like I'd go on the Big Brother or whatever. I'd be like, yep, I want it for all these lavish things that have nothing to do with anything warm-hearted. Just selfish.
And my family, your brother too.
Right. Richard would get $14. So there you go. 14 was your lucky number, wasn't it? Oh, that was our sister. Okay. Steve admits at the end of this that he did make a little bit of an error, to Katie. That's not what's important. The important thing is that Ayanna does win and Derek goes home and Brad wins. I did not think I would see Derek going home. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had him in one of my top picks to see who goes the furthest, but you never know. I mean, you could probably play these games the same people, same rules, and have different outcomes almost every time. So
yeah, something felt real about it. Somebody as front runner-ish as a Derek to go home early. I don't know why that shook me up. I really liked it. Great episode. And I guess that's it for this particular episode. Oh, okay. We are back with we're not back. We're just doing a long episode. As I said, I would love he's making noises already, Richard.
Episode 5.
Yes. We episode 5 here of the Challenge All-Star Season 2. We're just sort of compounding everything together, in the sense that we're going to try to do it more so episode by episode. But anyways, moving along. Here is episode 5. We post the elimination. We're starting to see back at the house that teams are forming. The 3 Kings specifically, which is Tech, Nehemiah, and Latarian, who also kind of see Steve and Melinda as being part of it. So that's beginning to be some entry stages of their connection, and they all are in the same room for the most part.
Well,
so that's,
and they're starting to show it around the place too, which is usually not what you do if you're doing an alliance.
yeah. Brad realizes that they're telegraphing it. I don't know if he realizes that because Nehemiah is his friend, or just in general. In the particular episode, though, episode 5 here, Tina's montage of bad Tina, we see a lot of it. She really didn't swing that well on Beth.
Oh boy, now you're getting in a fight with Tina.
But I could kind of be intrigued by the idea that she wants to be more grown and evolved from who she used to be.
And it's always great to see like montage stuff like that from when they were young on the challenge and then to this day and age and how they've changed. And would you say it's been about 10 years or so?
Mm-hmm. Except for the one time she came back on the regular challenge. Remember she came back with CT that one time?
Oh, we all remember that because that was CT's big moment.
But it is nice to see a little bit of the human side of these cast members. I think what made Tina be able to speak is because she got to talk with Casey. Casey's I would imagine, being in the house, she's somebody who is very giving in regards to you being able to vent or whatever. Speaking of venting, we're learning that Melinda, she has a very, specific issue that she's overcoming, which will coincide with the day, which will be the challenge. This is kind of like the day before. So she's getting together with some of her friends in the house and kind of explaining that, well, sadly, this is when I would have, what was it? She had a C-section, on the date, right? It would have been the, what would that be called? It would have been the pregnancy.
Well, unfortunately, she had a miscarriage and, the due date was the day they were doing the challenge.
Yeah.
And
I struggle
with no one wishes that upon anyone. And you could only send your best wishes to her and her family and everything to have to go through that.
Yeah, I struggle with it because it's such a jarring situation, of course. And then even, we have to do fair recaps. I always say Melinda had usually been one of my least interesting cast members. So it was really
I didn't even bring it up this time.
No, it was a full circle moment. Yeah. I mean,
it's not easy to get that like emotional and share something like that. So
I think it's not easy, but I think what I connected to with Derek Chavez, sometimes I think coming on these challenges in these dark situations is important because it might be one of the grieving processes that can kind of assess you to challenge yourself. So yeah,
a bit therapeutic. Mm-hmm. I mean, everyone goes through their own way and we can't do anything but give her the best wishes that we can.
Yeah, it's funny because like I said, she wasn't always my favorite, but this particular episode, seeing this, hearing this, knowing she's going to go through this in the challenge the next day, I kind of was like, that's right. Step up. You got this. Like I got really motivated by her story right there. Let's talk about the challenge though. That would be the next day. It's called Bounce Back. They're on the trampoline. It's got a little bit of a staircase of sorts, and they have to sort of jump off of those and then go hit this, what is it? Like a big old number, which is,
there's like 3 different numbers just kind of hanging. Almost like Price is Right numbers.
Yeah. Somehow it didn't look like a Price is Right competition, but yes. So they have to hit that. I don't know
if it's at millions of dollars up there when you hit them, I would be like, ooh.
Yeah, you'll fly instantly. And then with that, they have to go solve a puzzle because, this is the challenge Allstars 2. It wouldn't be anything without a puzzle to be solved. Which later...
Simple math.
You say that, Richard, but you're saying that in the confines of recording a podcast. Imagine being up there. Imagine.
Oh, no doubt.
Okay.
Definitely saying it from yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I look at these challenges where I'm like, come on, Tech, don't be so mad at yourself. Whatever. You had to do it in these conditions. But I guess he's allowed to be mad at himself.
It's simple math, though.
You see, when I am jolly and warm-hearted, Richard says, hey, dummy, it's simple math. And then vice versa when I'm just on a run of like, who's boring? Richard's like, okay. um, this little show, we love it. So Melinda gets DQ'd. How'd you feel about that, Richard, with the actual disqualification and just everything that she was going through? What was your reaction to that?
I mean, well, with her, I mean, there's definitely a backstory to it, and you don't, you feel like you would hope this is her day, but unfortunately, it didn't go that way. But just with the challenge in general, a lot of these people, they did not fall gracefully, and if you don't fall gracefully from that height, man, you're going to slap on the, like, just that water turns almost to like brick, and it hurts. It'll knock you out, bruise you up and stuff. So I think what they on this competition, they all went for the numbers, but they weren't thinking about how they were falling. You almost want to pencil into the water. And a lot of these people fell on their back, on their face,
Yeah.
and everything. And I mean, you can't blame her for being DQ'd, because you're going to lose against water at that high of a platform.
Yeah. And we've seen it before, but yet and still, I think it's as graceful as you're attempting, you're really just in it to try to get that number. And so you're going to great lengths. I mean, imagine if you're a taller cast member and a shorter cast member, the distance is the same. So you might be not graceful and come down really, really hard.
Well, it almost looked like someone was just so worried about it's a three-tier process. One was the bounce. You want to get good bounce up. Two was get the number, and three is land so you could be safe. And it seemed like they did 1 and 2, a lot of them, but they sure forgot about 3, and they were flying all over the place. You could see a couple of them, they were hit it, try to pencil into the water, but there was a couple you could tell they were no regards with their body. They were flying out to that number. It was like, good luck. That's not going to feel good.
You do have to be able to walk before you could do anything else. Yeah, you can't solve the puzzle if you're like drowning in there. Steve did not do well either, so Steve essentially lost. The big overcoming moment, just to note, and we'll get to the winners here, is Jasmine really, as you just stated, kind of how they're falling in the water and how tumultuous that is. She has this moment where she states that, I'm just doing it for my kids, or her kids. She's doing it for her kids. And, she went back out there. Anytime I see Janae do a confessional about Jasmine, I like it. And this was also a bit of a foreshadowing too, to see how like Latarian really says like, oh, she's got a big heart, which was also really cool.
Yeah, that was a good moment. And Jasmine, I mean, she's becoming one of the top people. If we have a confessional MVP of the season, she's up there.
She is. She's our confessional all-star so far. There's a lot of them, but she's one of them for sure. Our winners, gosh, does Jody never not win? Jody's a winner. Darrell also, does Darrell ever not win? Darrell and Jody are arguably still good enough to do the younger challenges, but I mean, also maybe not. But they're both very good. They're very quiet, and they maintain good sportsmanship, which I like. When they're in their selection process, the two of them, they think about flushing Ayana's life shield. Brad essentially has the life shield too, but Brad would not necessarily be something Darrell would want to waste, because they're still an alliance. However, they're going to do that with Ayana, and that's going to make
Ayana loves her tech.
That's good. Because she thinks she's going to save Tech. Is that what you're thinking?
That's what they're thinking, and she loves Tech. She loves everything about him, especially when he ran that one day into the pool naked. Oh, she was set.
Yeah, she is living her like almost like a movie. It's a romance in her own mind. She's a fun watch. She really is. Now, where it does get hard is like for some reason she's always on Jody. So, what are your overall thoughts on them flushing Ayana's life shield? And then when Ayana sort of not confronts them, but Ayana comes to talk with them, that whole exchange with Darrell, with Ayana being so persistent. What did you think?
Well, after last episode with Casey doing it kind of towards Derek, where they couldn't use the life shield on him. You could kind of see where the game was going to go the rest of the way. Whoever has the life shield, we're going to flush it, unless if you're on our side. And then we're going to put in whoever's left that we can put in that's against us.
So now it's becoming a regular thing. Like
yeah.
I don't think the producers love when their special twists and powers become overused, or not overused. What would be the term? Like used where people predetermine how to use them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, where it's just like it's almost irrelevant to have, because they found like a loophole that kind of changes the game back to normal. It's like, why have it if they're not going to use it?
And the only way that it does work that way is if somebody does step up, they use it on somebody else that it doesn't make sense. It's not like a pre-calculated situation. But then who's going to do that? Oh, sorry, I'm going to use it, and then I'm going to end up going home. Like, no one likes each other that much.
Yeah, the only way it would be able to work is if it was like a life shield that went to that, say the person who won the person that won the elimination, they got to give someone the life shield, and no one from the cast knew where the life shield was.
Right.
Then you could kind of...
That sounds like Survivor. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, where's the life shield? Obviously, they would probably say someone close to them, but then who is it to be? You're just not 100%. Well, right now, whoever won, 100%. Boom. And so it kind of makes it irrelevant.
I think I think they should eliminate that. The life shield's not doing anything for me yet, but there's many more episodes. This is just episode 5. We shall see. But my favorite part of this exchange was Ayanna trying to be real assertive, and her trying to say, "Oh, you're trying
she was not happy."
Yeah, she tried to say, "Oh, you're taking away this, and that I earned." Right, you earned that the same way we earned being winners, and we get to dictate how this goes. But what really got me is, and I think you and I have talked about this before, a lot of contestants, they're very like, they are ambitious. Some have great effort and sportsmanship. Some don't, and some just like keep their head down and win when they need to win. And I think, excuse me, some of them, such as like Darrell, doesn't. Some of them, such as be quiet. You served me a cerveza, by the way. Yes, actually, Richard. Thanks.
That's what I meant. Hey,
I'm gonna flip that on you, and with the lime, damn it. No,
Rona I'm talking about.
That's right, Richard. Okay, so listen, my brother, this guy. So what I liked about it, because you and I talk about it, is like Darrell just plays the game and wins. But one thing is he'll always say something when somebody sort of oversteps. And
I say out of line. Ayanna was out of line.
Yeah, Ayanna is out of line. She's overstepping to Jody, making like Jody feel real uncomfortable. And it's like, no. And what did he say, Richard? He said something like, because she's saying, you're going to do this, take this away. And she goes, and he looked right at her with that. There's nothing like a good Darrell smug face. Like, you crazy? He gives her the look. He goes, that happened to her last week. And he didn't lose his composure. And he was right. He was 100% right. So Ayanna, your theatrics, you're a likable character, sure. But her theatrics didn't make sense here. Oh, and he cut her good. He cut her without him getting hot and bothered over it. He was just like, it literally just happened to her. Like, come on. So that was fun.
Come on, man.
Okay, so within everyone going for selection, our votes do turn into Tech with 7, Tyler with 2, Tina with 7, and Casey with 2. So this turns into a situation where Tina becomes not happy, which is probably why we saw the montage at the beginning of the episode, kind of how wonderful
foreshadowing
and playful she's become, and how, not playful, but like, enjoyable. And it just is like, it was enough for her to feel unraveled. Why do you think she got so mad? It wasn't like anyone really was coming at her. Did she feel like anyone crossed her, Richard? Why do you think she got that mad, pulled out the pants, started banging them and telling everyone that you guys are this, you were that? She really showed her ass at that point, and it was old Tina. Why did she get so mad?
What did they say? Like Tina going just Tina. Like that's her. That's her true self. You put her back into that moment, like that's what she's going to do. And she probably hasn't felt that way because she hasn't been under the gun too much. But it's easy to revert back, get those old feelings and stuff. So
she made one good point in the confessional, though, that like her performance wise versus Casey's. And I think that would make me mad. Now, that's just one of the ways to reason this. But it could have been as much as, you just feeling like, wait a minute, I thought I was tight with all these people. I feel kind of attacked. It's 7 versus 2 is nothing you ever want to go up against. And when you are next to Casey and Casey doesn't do that well in this particular competition, I guess you could feel a little frustrated, regardless of it, Tina being Tina.
Yeah, but we all know what the game is. We know it's not sometimes it's a popularity contest, but your alliances more than anything else. So if you take it personal, like that's not the name of the game. I mean, obviously personal stuff happens and stuff attacks, but the most part, I think this was just a regular game move. Like, obviously you put Jody in. Are you expecting not to go in? Like,
yeah. So you think she just should have like bucked up, said, fine, I'm going in. I think if anything, she could have at least.
Well, you're not going to change anything at that point.
No, but I think in selection, she could have gotten her message out, which is, listen, because in selection, they're allowed to say something. They're allowed to, plead their case, I guess. I think you should say, I'm disappointed. I thought I was tighter with a lot of you. This is a bit of a surprise to me. I don't want to go in. If I go in, I'm going to go in and prove myself. I'm disappointed that I'm up here with Casey. I think numbers wise, I shouldn't be this close to her. It should be somebody else. And like kind of plead your case. What Tina tends to do, I think, is roll her eyes, get mad, hold it all in.
Well,
and then
I don't think she saw it coming until after the vote. And then she's like, oh, damn. Like,
right. Yeah. So to what I'm saying, she should have displayed all of the conversation and the dialogue. You're saying she couldn't have because she didn't know she was she felt she felt like they and that's going hide your pots, hide your pans. Yeah.
Well, you know what they say, the person who feels secure and like Big Brother Survivor, thinks they have the game in their hand is usually the person who gets got. And maybe she felt too comfortable. And I should never feel too comfortable in a game like this.
I think Tyler has a great confessional where he's like, she's used to being in with the in crowd. She's used to running things and sort of, pulling strings. And so, yeah, I think that does definitely set your sail a little. What's the term? Whatever it is, wind out of your sail.
There you go.
Like I've ever been,
think of it either.
Yachting before or whatever it would be. Oh my goodness. But anyways, it looked like the beginning of the end for Tina. Another great.
Yeah, Jasmine has a good quote right there where she's like, I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
Adding to Jasmine's MVP race.
Yeah, Jasmine, the confessional goat at this MVP? Point.
I don't know. Who you got so far in the top 3?
Let's see. I think Ayanna might have just something, and that would not even be confessionals. It's just when she talks about tech and tech's money, it's like you never know what type of conversation. One of the weaker confessional people I could say is Nehemiah. Nehemiah is getting a lot of confessionals, but I'm not saying that
Nehemiah now in a battle, huh?
I'm not saying that
he went after his girl Melinda a couple times.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're very interesting. No, Tyler's another confessional. He's a superstar. I love the way he explains stuff. We're not at this episode yet, but there's the episode where he alludes to falling from grace like a gazelle, and he looks more like a sack of potatoes. It's a good group. But we'll get to my thoughts on confessionals and his just odd personality. But so far, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Jasmine and her saying, "Yeah, I'm too old for this shit, Tina." Moving on to elimination, we have the arena. For that matter, we have Tina's up there, and she's going to be going up against Melinda. Melinda is getting a lot of assurance, from her friends. Tina's not really getting assurance from anyone. And then you have Tech going up against who's Tech going up against? Steve. Yes,
going against Steve, and I think they do the guys first.
Yeah, this
And
pissed off
Steve's been telling a lot of the people he wants Tech, and they're supposed to be in the alliance because he doesn't want to go against Tyler.
Yeah.
So
this is
it
when
kind of pisses off the Three Kings and Melinda, I guess now.
Yeah, this is what got Latarian all upset. And I think one thing people got to give Steve a little grace for is, and I'm trying to not make it sound like he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't think Steve like lives this as his like life. A lot of these cast members, they're like turning into like wrestling caricatures.
Are you getting a bromance with Steve?
No, right. I defended him twice. That's true.
Yeah,
no, but
I
guess what I'm trying to tell you, Richard, you got to listen here. I'm saying, brother, I'm saying that Steve, brother, I'm saying that Steve potentially just, like he's not thinking alliances.
Like he's not thinking game because he doesn't know it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, that's a way to say it.
You're giving him credit, and I'm like, no, he's just not making good moves.
No, but I'm saying because you guys, Nehemiah, you're doing your confessionals, and you're like,
you play.
Oh, brother, I'm Hulk Hogan, brother, and what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna demolish them at the elimination. I mean, that's how Nehemiah is now turning into on this show. It's like, Nehemiah, can you pull it together? I've seen you at a club in LA once. Like you're a calm dude. He was standing there with Zach of Key West. Yeah, it was at a club in LA. I've seen Nehemiah in human life. Like, come on, let's not.
Yeah, but Steve threw the toughest person at his only alliance member, Katie. Got her kicked out, did kind of whatever. Now his only alliance members, he's going again. So like, even if he wins, so like, yeah, I mean, you're giving him credit. I'm saying no, brother.
This is why nobody should invite me to the Challenge Podcast All-Stars, because I'm gonna play like Steve every time. What I'm saying is Nehemiah. You
can be on the other alliance when we play because.
But okay, what's the term that we always say, Richard? We got to get to the next episodes here. We're on episode 5. We're going to go through to 8. What do we always say? We always say this: ignorance is bliss. We say that, right? I always say that. I'm always wound very tight, hot and bothered over damn everything. It's sometimes nice you could have people who are a little more chill. What I'm trying to tell you is, if this other group of the people that are supposedly his alliance, they're getting like, oh, I can't believe it. Why would he do that? And he wants this one.
And I'll tell you who would never do that.
Wait, let me finish. Let me finish. They're getting all on him. I want to what I would venture to tell them is, you guys, he isn't thinking that far ahead of the game. He's not even equating legacy or
that's someone who could be on your team and not my team.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but they're making it as if he's a formidable.
Well, yeah, it's a game. You want to win. There's no reason to be out there if you're not going to win.
But he isn't playing it like that. Steve is like, hey,
send him home.
Well, that you can do that too. You have listen. If you chose to bring him into your team, you can't be mad about the way he's playing.
Listen. I'm going to let him take his own team out. If I'm against him, apparently he wants to go against his own team members.
I'm trying to tell you, he doesn't get that. He doesn't think ignorance is bliss. Yeah, but you get what my point is, though. My point is,
your point is he's not very good at the game.
No, the point is, Latarian,
exactly.
You can't make it a proclamation of how he's stabbing you in the back or how low in character is it if you don't realize the person who you brought in your alliance, which is Steve, to Latarian's alliance. If you're the one who brought him in and you don't realize that you're the one who brought him in, but that's the type of game he plays where he doesn't like think too far ahead. That's also on you. You can't be like, I can't believe it. I'm so pissed off with him. I mean, Latarian, dude, no. I'm going with Steve on this, Richard.
He must really not like Latarian.
No, I'm just saying I'm going with Steve in this in the regards of Steve wasn't trying to stab nobody in the back. He was just like,
all right, can we do a Twitter poll? Can we do a Twitter poll? Will anyone agree with you? Will anyone?
Well, Steve will agree.
Oh, Steve will.
I'm trying to tell you, you can't get mad at somebody who's not getting mad at you back.
Maybe you could go.
No, you got to hear what I'm saying.
Mad at anyone.
You can't get mad at somebody who's.
You could get. Yeah, you can.
No, Steve didn't know that he was doing something wrong. Do you agree to that?
I agree that he's not very good at the game.
Richard, I was never fighting and
he
defending.
burned all his alliances. I would see this part coming up, but
Okay, well, we'll have to create a Patreon just to talk about this whole elimination. Anyways, we do
Go at your own alliance. I mean, I've never seen it been done.
But he wasn't doing it they were making it sound like he was doing it as a deceitful move. He was doing it as a ignorance is bliss. He was doing it as a oopsie. I just want to be as an oopsie.
As a oopsie.
He was doing it as an oopsie. Yeah. You never seen a curse on here? You had never seen an oopsie on the challenge All-Stars? Okay.
I mean, when a boob pops out or Ryan's disintegrating shorts, and that's a oopsie.
Who are you? And how come you didn't have an older brother that got you in line? You are just crazy. Okay, Richard.
But fine. Hey, ignorance is bliss when my older brother was talking. Wait, I can do no wrong.
What if we did a podcast where it was like we both came from two different, we're brothers, but we don't have different interests, and then we try to like come together on this one show? Well, I'm sure we'll think the same things. No, we will not think the same things at all.
No one thinks the same thing as you with Steve.
No, besides, there's a Steve.
Let's get Steve. Steve, he might not even think the same as you.
There's a Steve Hive that says, you know what? It's about having fun at the challenge. And he made an error. Oopsie.
Well, that's true. Oh, God, an error. He might have walked in, had a couple drinks, and took his bags and just walked out and said, good game, guys.
Yeah. See, he's of the mindset from the old challenges where they just had fun. Not where you have to do a confessional and you have to say, well, brother, I'm Hulk Hogan. I mean Nehemiah, and I'm gonna get them, and I'm gonna be the most deceptive person. And like, it's just crazy to me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Tech wins. Tech throws a shoulder to Steve and knocks him out. Steve, of course, gets his payback on that. It's a fun challenge, and I do like to see Tech be happy. So because you are to the part that you are right is Steve made an error. He made a dumb decision, kind of dividing his own team.
He made an error like the gas lights on, and he said, I don't have to fill up the gas tank because I got plenty of gas, and then runs out. I don't think you could just keep adding on to it. I think you need to contextually think of what happened. We moved on. He loses. He goes back to Hawaii. As Tech said, you're never going to be here again for 18 more years. So it's also okay, and it's fine. I think Steve is happy. He's not like Steve said that.
Who cares? I don't think that Steve is upset. I think he's totally living his best life.
No. Steve is walking away, saying, I'll see you guys in another 18 years.
Oh, right. It's good for Tech. I think Tech really likes who he's running this race with. And I think it was good to see Tech have a win, that type of victory, that type of ambitious victory.
I think he's in the top 3 of confessionals too.
Okay. I can see that too. He's another, it's a good group. Even someone like MJ's even been more interesting than I would have thought. So yeah, it's pretty good. He wins, sort of sets up this really great, like what's going to happen for the women's elimination. In my head, I'm thinking, wow, Tina's been so pissed. Like she's really going to give it to Melinda. Melinda, not my favorite cast member typically, but this is a big specific like week for her, like a specific, like, time wise and where her life would have been completely different. Had something so emotional not happen. So there's a lot on the line and I'm like, okay, here we go. TK. And all of a sudden Tina decides that she's done. That's not your favorite.
She took about 4 steps. And TJ goes, really, Tina?
So was it planned? Do you think it was planned?
It's Tina's always talked a big game, and I've always been 50-50. Like, is she really good, or has she just been with like the girls running the game? And half of me's always said she ain't that good. She's a little overrated. And maybe she has gone to this life that she said, what she said, I got no kids, I got a pool, I think
she does.
Which is all this great stuff. And so maybe she has like kind of just thinking about like, I want to just get back to that life. Like I'm not liking who I'm reverting back to and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe she was performing okay, but not great. Maybe she pride-wise didn't want to lose to Melinda.
Yeah.
maybe is a running thing, and maybe she's not a runner as much as she thought, like back in the day, where she's more of a pole wrestle, or or hall brawl, where she could like hit someone or wrestle someone, than a distance. And she's like, well, why even put myself out there, type thing. So maybe that's why she quit, but who really knows besides herself. But I guess it's a little bit of a credit to her that normally TJ would just light you up and say, wait, what's going on? But she has put so many years in where she did do so many of these challenges where you kind of just said, oh, okay, I don't think I've ever seen TJ do that on someone who quit.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out too. And I do think she does have kids, I thought. But anyways, I know because I've heard from interviews, she has a life that she's really proud of and really happy about. So I think that's maybe what she is facing. She's facing, and this happens with a lot of cast members across other reality shows. I got casted sort of as a shit stir. I got casted as somebody who's, vocally really gonna give it to you. It's good when you get casted as that initially, but it's hard to see people switch out of that. Sometimes people want to keep you in that box. And I think maybe there is a human side to her where you're like herself, where she's like, damn, I've been doing really good. And, the game is sort of set to make you argue with people. And honestly, I'm already starting to like not be proud of who I am. And the only reason I mentioned that, as far as I think she does have kids, if it is, let's say she does, hypothetically, if she does, it's like the same thing that you hear Kendall talk about, or the same thing you hear most of them, Brad, talk about. You talked a bit ago about how like, oh, they have kids. Maybe that's not. It's
Corey has kids, and Tony.
You had mentioned it gets a bit redundant, but it doesn't get redundant in the sense of like
you totally understand it, and that's why you don't want to jump on her too much, because if that's the case, I mean, that's almost like a person who has had a drinking problem the whole time, and they're like, hey, I want to step away from this challenge because it puts me in a bad head spot. It makes me want. You can't get mad at.
Yeah, I'm sure some people are mad. I'm sure some people on Twitter lit her up, but I do think the confessional that made the most sense, because he said it with love, but also a little bit of like truth. MJ, he goes, listen, if you're going to come in here and proclaim that you are this person and you move mountains and you're Tina, boom, boom, boom. Well, when it comes down to it, push come to shove, you don't not at least show up. So I think a lot of people probably saw that side of it too. And Twitter probably was like, oh, how can Tina of all people give up? But you know what? It's like she says.
Yeah, agree with it. But at the end of the day, that's, her decision. And
I don't think she regrets it. I don't think she
it's not going to end my world. It's not going to end your world if she quit. So like, for people to go out and like, bash her, like, come on.
I have the best question.
Get something else better to do.
I have the best question. Do you put her on another challenge Allstars, or was that the final goodbye because of her quitting?
Ooh. I think you talk to her before you think about putting her on another one. Like, you find out why she quit behind closed doors, and if it was quit because I just quit, but if it was more like I was in a bad head space or want to get to my own good spot in life type thing, they'll talk to the producers and stuff. So I might think it might be the last time we see her. If the way she went out, I mean, she kind of quit, so it's kind of hard to go back.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I mean, Arissa's never coming back, right? It was
Arissa's definitely never coming back.
Your season 1 group right there.
Arissa. Oh, I saw Arissa at the gas station in Las Vegas. I was working in radio. I was trying to get an interview for her too.
Did she quit on you too and give you the finger?
Would you stop it? Oh goodness. See you never. No. Okay.
The TJ send off is a real thing.
Allstars 1. Look at the arena now versus the season 1 arena. I mean, it looks nicer. It really does. Okay. This was season 5. I'm sorry, season 2, episode 5.
Whoa, season 5.
It is right in that middle space that really starts to get those alliances tighter. The attitude's more, not even being mean as an attitude, but you start to have to like show off your, like, I'm the shit. You have to show it off at this stage, because now you're really fighting. But as far as us recapping episode 5, Richard and Ronnie, we are brothers doing this with 2 totally different personalities. Anyway, the point is, this wraps up, as we look into episode 6, this wraps up our episode number 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving along, Richard, let's do Challenge All-Stars Season 2, Episode 6. This one's called A Whole New World.
Episode 6.
That's it. As we've been talking about, Nehemiah and his crew, they are getting very excited, and they rightfully should. The question, I think you sort of answered this a little bit ago, but just I wanted to define it with you. Is it good to be that loud with your group of friends? Does that make sense? Does that cause alarm? Are you playing too big?
I've never seen a show of this type. Like we talk about Survivor and all that, Big Brother all the time, where it has helped anyone. However, I mean, if you're willing to draw the line in the sand, which they say many times in these episodes,
that damn sand,
that it has a line in it. Yeah, if you're willing to do that, I mean, game on. I mean, if we go back to one of our favorite shows was Big Brother 6, and that was definitely a show that had 2 different sides of the house, but you got to be ready. It's game time.
That's right. Janelle didn't like Maggie at all. Moving along, because we'll see where that plays.
What up, K-Sar?
What up, K-Sar? We'll see how that plays. We'll see if it makes sense for them to play this hard or if it becomes a hindrance as we go. As a note, there's so many great songs with the All-Stars here. The Paramount Plus version of the challenge. Some songs I wanted to give note to are "Don't Want to Be a Player" by Big Pun was featured in the episode. So was "Ladies First" by Queen Latifah and Moni Love, a really good song. That was when the Queen Latifah song was when Jody was dominating, which she typically does. What a great choice to put that in. MC Hammer, "Too Legit to Quit" is another one that was on the episode. So was Matchbox 20, "Push." So I thought it had a variety of really fun songs to look back upon. I mean, I liked it personally.
You should set up a poll, see what's the most popular of the 4. Put it on Twitter.
Richard, you should know long enough by now know that when I do podcasts, I don't care what anyone thinks. I only care what I think. That's all I care about. I say that boldly all the time. Okay, so looking at the house, though, we have 2-time winner Tyler, who's going up in multiple eliminations, and he is sharing this sensitivity that he has with Janelle. I like to see it.
Eliminations or
arenas. Sorry, he's been in the arena. Nominations. Yes, I'm sorry. Basically, he's feeling, and thank you for catching that. He's feeling that,
of course,
he's feeling that he is being always an easy scapegoat to be put up, and it's kind of weighing him down. The funny thing about it, though, is I knew he won initially. I didn't realize he has 2 wins. So for him to not be looked at as a strong competitor, that could definitely weigh on you. I like that Janelle had his back. I love the way Janelle's been playing this season, actually.
Well, they go back.
Key West, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have Janae, who's proud of Jasmine. They're 2 that hadn't always got along, but then they have of the recent time, and so you like to see it, of course. That's really cool. Did you have a note on that?
No, it's just they're almost like sisters that fight, but they, when it comes down to it, they always kind of have their back.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's probably inspiring for Jasmine to see Janae do so good on last year's challenge, because you weren't sure she would do that good. She was a new mother, and for her to get so fit right away and dominate and have such fortitude, I think maybe there's a part of Jasmine that really likes her sisterhood, between the 2 of them. So it is good. Kendall Skyping with her kids. I was going to tell you as we were recapping the last episode that, the thing about it is I do like the way these cast members now have to factor in, I want to showcase good sportsmanship, it does. And when you do good sportsmanship, it doesn't mean you're, not trying. So
screw sportsmanship. Let's see them fight, claw, and kill each other.
My goodness. Did I not say when we recap? Did I not say when we recap an episode where we are siblings, but at the same time we're two totally different ways of seeing things? I thought it was actually sweet.
Kumbaya episode. Let's go.
I
Put
do.
Someone's face in the dirt.
All right, well, let's get right to the challenge, huh?
Right,
the challenge is played in pairs, and it's called Deep Dive. You're basically diving into the water.
TJ does say pick your partner wisely.
Yeah, but he says stuff like that.
He
all
almost
the time.
says it emphasized. No, he kind of emphasized it this time.
No, he put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. No.
Oh, geez.
No, he put the right emphasis on the right syllable. But the point is, I didn't notice it. I didn't think it was anything to telegraph. You did?
I mean, come on, TJ don't say stuff just to say it. Not that way.
Okay. I mean, maybe if you're in the Big Brother house, you're supposed to analyze everything, and yes, you could have seen it. But even if so, how were you able
to not watch 37 years of the challenge? 37 seasons, not years. Sorry.
I know, but
at the two Allstars.
At the same time, how would you be able to know that? How would you be able to find your perfect partner? Even if he says it doesn't mean I could like cross where I'm standing and get the right person. I could hope, but it doesn't mean anything. Anyway,
pick the person he wanted.
He ran
across all the way to get Casey, leaving Tyler kind of by himself.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, anyway, fine. He said it, and we should have all been watching, I guess. I'm watching Paramount Plus, on the TV. I'm not in the shoes that they were in, but yes, they should have been.
Was there a song going on at that time? Were you dancing to
it? Yes, from the 90s. So here's how it works. It's called
Big Pun.
It was not Big Pun. It was TLC Waterfalls. No, I'm kidding. It was
because they felt like waterfalls in this challenge,
especially the gazelle that was Tyler. Look at those hips flying. So it's called Deep Dive. They got to dive into the water. There's 4 bowels. Under the bowels, they have to buoys. They're buoys. How do you spell buoy? I'm trying to write it in my notes. How do you spell buoy? Anyway, buoys.
Oh, now you're going. See, this is like a trivia question where I would know, but now I'm on the gun. I'm like, B-O-U-Y?
Who cares?
No,
yeah,
buoy, B-U-O-Y. It's easier to write down than it is spelled in my head. And then you get to know if it's trivia, you fall down and then you feel like an idiot.
This is the exact thing that is different between me and my brother, is that he likes trivia, and I'm like, just give me the fucking answer.
I like competition.
And I'm more like, can I just be entertained? Like you put the TV on and you are here to entertain me, not, I could play along. I don't want to play along. I'm not getting paid for this shit. And this is
give me a puzzle. I got it.
This is why we're brothers. Okay. Anyways, so not why we're brothers, but how different we are with our consumption, what we like. But speaking on this, so they go in, they got to go into, diving into the water past the buoys. There's a treasure chest underneath with puzzle pieces 15 feet below. And they got to to solve these puzzles with the items that are there. They have to dive into the water from either the 30 feet or a ladder at 15-foot jump. God, that's a lot of different elements. Question to you: do you feel like you're instantly doing the 30, or are you going to do what Jasmine did and go to the 15?
30. Let's go. Pencil in.
Just because you feel like it's been tested, it's safe enough. Yeah.
I mean, you just got to make sure you try to land as straight as you can.
And I think they get to practice the day before, right? Isn't that the way it works with the challenge? They get to practice. Yeah.
I'm not sure, but by this time you've taken so many 30-foot, after all these years, you kind of have an idea.
Yeah, but some people might still be very scared of heights like that. And didn't we see on the regular season of the challenge, the one where they had a bunch of cast members, international cast members as well? I can't remember the name of that season, the 37, I guess it was, where they did some type of jump in the water. It wasn't even that high, and people were still messing up and getting hurt or whatever. So I'm not going to wash it off as like an easy jump, It
looks like an awesome little cove, though.
It does, doesn't it? In general,
like scenery and everything.
I was going to say, this is one that I am not the most physically fit, but at the same time, this would be one that I'd be like, okay, I kind of like it. Going down 15 feet below is probably harder than it looks, but nonetheless. Richard, you
Swan
spoke.
diving like Tyler, right?
Yeah, I mean, those big old hips was just in slow motion
I
at
mean, he's
that.
more flexible than most people.
I'm telling you. Speaking of contestants picking another teammate, right? So what we have at this point, even though you say that it was telegraphed that that TJ said that they should be aware of their teammates. I didn't really see that, but anyway, at the current stage, it's Kendall with Latarian. They seem to be happy about it. Kahutta and Casey, Brad and Jody, which seems like such a strong group. Janelle and Darrell, which is a strong group, and I think they've played the game long enough where they don't have to worry about telegraphing that they are actually good friends from back in the day.
Yeah, they said Darrell got Janelle on the casting for her season.
Yeah, because they both from the Bay Area, so there is kind of like this. They didn't want to overplay early, but at this stage in the game, which what is this, episode 6, totally makes sense.
Yeah, and if you see a lot of these teams, they are like best friend teams for the most part.
Melinda and Nehemiah, Team Austin.
That's your Team Austin. Oh, you love some Austin.
It just wasn't a good real world season. I mean, let's just really go from there. Johanna, Rachel, Danny.
You're gonna have Wes in your mentions.
Wes, and actually Nehemiah, who famously on the reunion said, "Oh, you're here on the stage, Danny, thinking you're somebody like you're Brad Pitt or something. You're just on a reality show." I mean, so Nehemiah, I don't know. It just whatever.
You got beef with Austin.
They just weren't as good as
started with Melinda, and now it's just you got them all in now.
Where's Johanna? I think of Nehemiah anything. He talked with Wes, and Wes gave him the antidotes of how to be compelling on the show. That's all I think that this is. Wes played the game long enough. Wes gave him all the little notes, like how you're going to shine, how you're going to get edited favorably, and that's all Nehemiah is doing. Because I see a change. That's all I'm saying. Moving on. I don't care. MJ and Janae. Richard, I want to end all my arguments like that. Moving on because I don't care anymore.
Hashtag you don't like Austin.
I don't. Austin. Watch I end up living in Austin. Oh, geez. Janelle and Darrell.
Music town, right?
Mm-hmm. Janelle, Darrell, Melinda, and Nehemiah, we said. MJ and Janae. Poor Tyler, because he's stuck with Jasmine, but he seems to like her, but he seems to also not like her. So it's kind of like a 50-50 where he's going to be upset if it doesn't work out. Oh, you disagree?
Well, no. What I'm looking at your notes, and there's a heart by Ayana.
Oh, Tech and I way to jump ahead. No, I was saying that Tech and Ayana are also a team, but it makes Ayana very happy.
Oh,
so
yeah. She loves some techie.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. Tech and his money. Yeah, that's all it is. She loves it. So
can you say tripod on this? She loves Tech's tripod.
Yeah. Very much so.
All right. PG show, we gotta move on, right?
Yeah. So we talked about Tyler, his lavish jump, and how great this particular challenge was. Richard, there's so many challenges that I don't really like. So this was one that I could say that I actually did really, really enjoy. But
it was pretty basic. You jump in, grab some buoys. How you spell it again? Neither one of us know.
I spelled it like it was a bowel movement. No, a buoy.
How you spell that?
I don't know. I don't care.
And then you do a puzzle. I love puzzles, but I don't know if you like puzzles.
I don't love them, but I was okay with this challenge. I like the idea of doing things you don't always do. It's kind of like, are you in real life? Are you afraid to jump out of a plane? Sure, but in the sake of the game, you would do it. Are you afraid to jump 30 feet? Yes, but in the sake of the game, you would do it. So I kind of was into the challenge, and I also thought it was kind of cool to go to the 15 feet to go scavenge for your puzzle pieces, take them somewhere else, solve the thing. I liked that. Yeah,
I like that. It was a 3D puzzle. You don't see too many of those.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a whole different thing than just a normal puzzle too. So it
The
seemed like a
bit,
lot of the first couple people were doing it upside down and then flipping it over, which seemed
yeah.
tough.
It's what makes the game great. The puzzles themselves aren't even easy to begin with. So
It's the equalizer.
screw the fact that you're nervous or anxious or tired or exhausted. It's also difficult. So that's what makes it an equalizer. The twist though is that you're gonna have these same partners. Like I said, this is what makes Tyler like, oh God, I gotta
What? For like the whole season? When that happened?
it just happened. Yeah. So
TJ told us.
I will tell you, yes, when TJ said it, I would tell you that usually between you and I, when we watch these shows, all these challenge shows, you and I, before we started doing it on a podcast, we always defer with our opinion. You seem to always like a bunch of twists, and I'm always like, another twist. Is it that necessary? Kind of like how on last episode I was talking about how Life Shield is not. It's like the Life Shield is interesting, but it's not that interesting. I will tell you, Richard, you're probably shocked to hear this one. Shocker. I liked this particular twist. I thought it was great. I think, get them in the middle of the season, have them link up, and then when they're with who they're with, they have to stay with that person. I'm totally into that. I don't know. Do you feel the same?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think if you watch enough of these shows and you look at them and how the formats are, and if it's a big team game, if it's by yourself, like you could kind of here and there every once in a while predict a type of twist. Most of the twists in general. How many twists they're going to do. Like maybe they go later into, they could went into back to singles, but it's, they could go back and forth. But yeah, I mean, partners is always a pretty good safe bet. It's not too many people. Sometimes teams, people who don't deserve to win, get in, oh, I'm a champion, but you did nothing on the team.
Right.
Usually if you're partners, you got two really good solid people. And then one, obviously you got a winner, but you don't get to share it with anyone. Sometimes it's fun to have that partner to lean on when you're hurting and you're just feeling like your legs are going to burst open and you're going to die. They kind of push you along.
Or you're eating the hottest chili pepper, and then your partner pushes you along. Yeah, you do need that.
Well, it's better than like Bulls balls or stuff like that when they do that stuff.
I was going to take it's a great point you make. I was going to take a different opinion. You like them because your partner could support you. I actually was thinking what I liked about this being a twist that was favorable, that I enjoyed, maybe typically I don't, was that it made it more complex in the selection process for nominations now, because now you're sort of tied in with this person through from now till the final, or maybe through the final. We don't know that part just yet, but it makes it harder to be secretive about your gameplay. So that's actually one of the reasons I liked it too.
Yeah, and when we talked about who was partnered up with who, it was good that most of them got people that they were used to and that they're friends with. Like, I don't know if it was like Brad and Jasmine, or I don't know, Latarian and Janelle. I mean, they would have got along, but they were on like different sides of the house. It would have made it really weird. But like, they're going to fight for their partners right here,
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, it'll change some stuff up. So I liked it. I liked it. And yes, people got who they needed to be with, and we'll see where it goes on from that point. Our winners are Brad and Jody. Our losers are Tyler and Jasmine. Within our 4 nominations, there's 2 teams, and the Life Shield is in play. So this makes it a concept where, of course, they're going to flush the Life Shields. Our nominations become Latarian and Kendall, and MJ and Janae. Do you feel good with that group, or how would you have voted it?
Well, with Brad and Jody winning, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, time out, because that means that they inevitably weren't putting MJ and Janae up. They were putting them up as a smoke shield kind of a thing, right?
Well, they knew they had the votes. So when they put Latarian and Kendall up, they could have put anyone, MJ and Janae are kind of on their side with Terrell and Janelle and Kahada and Casey. But they could kind of just put up any of them, and they knew they had the votes.
Yeah. It's like Big Brother when you have to put up a pawn, which still can go wrong, but I don't think I've seen pawns belong in the challenge as much as in Big Brother.
Yeah, too many people would have switched their votes, and they were all working with each other. And what they said, the line has been drawn in the sand.
That damn sand. Oh yeah. Okay, so then that inevitably makes Latarian and Kendall the deliberation selection choice, and so Latarian and Kendall are going to go up. But what we had seen in the actual competition, though, is Kendall, and we talked about this, I think, on another challenge, maybe the one where they were on the trampolines and they were jumping down into the water. How if you come down wrong, don't look at that as water. Like you could really jack up, something within your body. Kendall pushed through or whatever in the competition, but it turns out that she really isn't saying anything throughout the day and the deliberation and all that stuff. But Kendall is in quite a lot of pain, which ends up coming into play once we get to the arena.
Yeah, they took her to the doctor that night, and when they get to the arena, she's not there. And then our buddy TJ comes out, and what does he tell us?
Well, that she physically was not able to compete. Yeah.
Which means what happened?
I don't know, disqualification?
No, he says we're going to have one elimination with the guys, but then Jasmine, who's like a cat, she's got 9 lives. she gets to go through this elimination for free, and she gets the loser of Tyler and Latarian.
Oh, yeah, that was hard on Tyler because Tyler, not that he did great either or whatever, but he was in his mind, he liked his teammate, but he definitely doesn't want to know she gets a free pass and I have to go into elimination with a very in selection. Latarian was like going, I'm gonna go right through the person. And then Tyler's like, well, I'm gonna be hurting tomorrow. So I could see how that would make Tyler frustrated. But yeah, Jasmine gets her 9 lives. She does not have to compete, and Tyler does. And he inevitably.
And what do we see? What they say? We got a good old fashioned headbanger. We got the pole wrestle.
It's a good one. It's a good one to watch. It's a good one that you definitely feel like the most physically fit person could win, but by gravity and also
we've seen it over through the years. Yes. Usually the bigger person, but Derek pulled off plenty of pole wrestles versus bigger guys, and it's a leverage play, and you don't want to tire out too quickly. But it's always a good one with all these all-stars. Like they all know it, so everyone gets excited.
Yeah. You could be out strategized, or you could your technique could be not good. Well, anyways, Latarian's technique is good. Latarian does win 2-0.
We saw it last year. He dominated. Who did he take out last year?
They showed the flashback, and I remember usually most of the challenge, the arenas, but I couldn't remember who that was.
It was someone really good.
No, you know what? I don't know if it was someone really good. Was it early on? Because if it was early on, it would be like Ace, maybe.
No, I think it was someone pretty good, because now they're like, dang, he takes out Tyler in that 2-0.
Yeah.
And Tyler's not a small guy.
Oh, so you're saying
he was kind of throwing him away, and he did that last year too. Like everyone was pounding on the guy. It might have been. Yeah.
Well, there's always Paramount Plus to go stream it on your own and go watch it. And we should know it, but we don't. So screw it. But you're right. The point is made, Richard, that Latarian, when he wins these,
it's going to come to me. Trust me, I feel it.
I hear you. When he wins these type of eliminations, it opens up this like, see, I'm a competitor. Not see, I'm a competitor, because they of course know, but like, anytime you win these type of victories, you get to kind of show your cards to everybody, and it allows them to put some respect on what you're trying to do. So I think that's good.
I think you were right with Ace.
The only reason I think that is because they showed the flashback and I didn't bother to go look it up, but I was trying to calculate in my head who has that body style. And I remember like well, Derek was on the first season, but Derek went farther, and I know Latarian didn't go that far. So then in my head, I could say, well, the only person who went out earlier was an Ace, because Ace was the first guy to go out. So that's kind of
and
how
he threw him around, but like Tyler's twice as big and strong, and he was.
Yeah, but I think
It was pretty
Latarian.
impressive.
I think
It was
Latarian,
pretty impressive by Latarian.
who he was season 1 versus season 2, he's a totally different guy. Season 1, he wasn't connected with camaraderie.
No, I'm just talking about the gameplay and of him pounding Tyler. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
yeah,
Yeah, strategy wise, he is totally different from season 1.
I love to see it. Latarian, I think he's chosen an interesting side to side with, but I like him. Except when he talks like we're gonna dominate. I was like, talk with your regular
maybe
voice,
when
please.
we get the OGs against the new guys, we'll get him and Kyle in the pole wrestle.
Yeah,
because Kyle's been doing good in his pole wrestles in the main ship show.
Right. That crossover is delightful, and I think
it's got to be coming. Like CT, I mean, you would think Giant Bananas, Wes, all on one team.
Yeah.
All the newer.
It's coming, and I was going to tell you. Well, let me wrap this out first.
Darrell and Derek, and
let me wrap this out real quick first by saying Jasmine, Latarian, they're the new teammates. They get the life shield. What, like you say with Jasmine and the 9 lives, what a fortunate situation that you don't go into elimination, but you keep a life shield, and you get somebody like Latarian who you happen to really enjoy as a teammate. So yeah, she did well. Going to your question about that crossover, I was going to tell you, I had wondered. We obviously know season
bonus 3
podcast. I know that Patreon needs to get lit up. But my point, though, Richard, I was going to say, and we'll wrap this up because this is episode 6 of season 2. We're going to get to episode 7 right now. Combing through these quick, but I was going to say, there's a part of me that's like, were these first real world homecomings and challenge Allstars just something that were rolled out early on because Paramount Plus needed like something big to roll out? Obviously Paramount Plus is huge. They don't need like the MTV programming, but they need a lot. And I started to think, no, homecoming, real world, I think they'll have a lot, maybe not as much as the challenge. Wait, let me finish this. Let me finish this thought beyond nostalgia. The point is, I had worried like, oh, it's not going to work, Challenge All-Stars, because they're at some point going to get too old. Like Steve is 52, but he's going to get older. But then I had thought, I said, you know what? He is going to work because Survivor doesn't have a cap on their ages of who they bring onto the show. And that's a physically fit show that goes on for years and years and years. So it tells me that the Challenge All-Stars is going to be on for quite some time. That was my thought.
Good thought.
Okay, well, I thought you were going to come in with the epic. Well, let me tell you about nostalgia. No, okay.
No, I was just saying they it's a nostalgia play at the start to get Paramount Plus, and you want to get some old school faces just to buy it. Like, oh, where have these people been? Yeah. I mean, who doesn't look at that little Facebook? Real world, where are they now? Season 2.
Mm-hmm. But I think it has wills to go a long way, different combinations. The combination you mentioned where you kind of like said the ones that crossed over. Yeah, there's a lot. But I will say this was episode 6, and this wraps up our recap for another random recap of this particular episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like the way I said okay. So this is moving along with our blitz of episodes here. So the Challenge All-Stars episode number 7. Episode 7 with Richard and Ronnie. As I just want to remind and as a thing to remember, I'm getting tired.
Or a walk to remember.
As a walk to remember, a thing to remember, we'll do episodes singularly next go round. But this was kind of a time where we just compounded them all together just because of our own schedules. But we wanted to at least make sure we do the challenge recaps because it's a great show. It's a fun show and a really great reason for Richard and I, my brother here, to come together and talk about it. Because we don't necessarily always agree on the same opinion, but hey, let me ask you, Safety Palace, the song and celebration for episode number 7, were you into their flaunting, or do you say, bring it on, be even louder? What do you think, Rich?
If I'm in the house, I'm as annoyed as can be. Like, shut up already. but that's just the competition. I was like, well, we'll show you. There's a reason why you keep going into those things, because we're winning the dailies. However, as a viewer, the more and more you watch it, you're like, all right, it's a little cheesy, but Safety Palace.
It's a little cheesy, but it also plays well for like somebody like Tech. And I don't know what.
Yeah.
Did you have another point?
No, I agree with you. Yeah, mark that down right here. I agree with you.
Well, I was going to say it plays for somebody like Tech to make a song out of it. You know, Tech's one of these people who came out of the real world Hawaii, did really well. I mean, gosh, he was doing the movie with Ryan Reynolds, you know. And is a DJ and a promoter. He's kind of like Tech is a, you know, almost like a real world Renaissance man. You know, he does a lot. So coming up with something like Safety Palace and sort of taking that, like all reality shows
do. He's an entertainer.
Yeah, taking that like all reality shows do, where you you know, add that to merch, you add that to a song or whatever, because I believe Safety Palace is maybe something that they're playing around with as a song, you know, for Tech and Letarian and Nehemiah and Melinda and whoever. So I think that's
Should
great.
we copyright it?
Well, I was going to say, no, definitely, definitely not. But I was going to say contractually, I never know how that works, because always the cast members on other shows, they will have like their famous taglines. Those will be merch or whatever. But I don't know how it works within music. And the reason I asked that is because Safety Palace was actually featured in this or the next episode. So there was obviously an agreement that, you know, it can be used. So to that notion, the gloating is a little much, but to see Tech like sort of make a song out of it, I'm like, that's right. Like this feels right. This feels very real world Hawaii.
Where some people, it seems like they're putting it in your face if you're in the show. Tech is such a happy and fun guy to be around with. You're kind of like, oh, it's just Tech.
It's just Tech. He's had some tough competitions. He's trying to showcase his talent too. But at the end of the day, he's always going to give you that Safety Palace song. And I think that's fun for us all. Brad's in a weird situation, Richard, he feels that his friendship with Nehemiah is interesting because they're friends, he says. And Nehemiah says it too. But they're on different alliance sides. Are they real friends, or is this one of those situations like on the regular challenge when everyone got on Fessy and we're like, whoa, you're not our real friend, and Fessy's like, are we really friends? What are your thoughts about the friends versus alliance story?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're friends, but as they're on different sides, and he's talking to Janelle early on in the episode about it, like, hey, Nehemiah, you know, he's coming to visit me, he's doing this, and all these they're planning, and they show like little pictures of them hanging out outside the house. But Brad's kind of in that spot. He's like, well, he kind of, oh, where's that sand again? There's a line again. And they're just
he drew a sand on the line. Yeah. Or what did I say? He drew a line in the sand. I said he drew a sand in the line. He drew a line in the sand. Yeah.
See, you say it so many times you can't remember which one's drawing which. But yeah, I mean, I obviously outside the house friendships to inside the house friendships are totally different. I think if you got true friendship, you got to take this as a game. And, you know, does Nehemiah, because Brad's had more control, but does Nehemiah think that he's going to take Brad over Letarian and Tech, who are his 1 and 2 right now? I mean, I don't think Brad thinks that. So even though they're friends, I don't think they could take it personal, and
that's why I think
that's what Brad's kind of struggling with.
I think Brad was struggling over something he does not need to struggle with. If you got your friend over there gloating and flaunting, you know, his win, or his win from his elimination, or his team's win from elimination, you know that those numbers aren't coming from him to support you. So yes, he's the friend, but he wasn't the friend that cared about you then. So how could it be asked of Brad to feel the same way back? You know what I mean? It's like, come on. But it is still nice that Brad has that, like, I guess we're gonna have to do things different, you know. And you have to be that way. You can't be dumb either.
Well, it's like when you're playing on basketball teams against your best friend, like you're on different teams. You're going to still try to win. You might throw an elbow into your best friend's stomach or something. But whoever wins at the end of the day wins.
The only way to play basketball, throw that elbow in the stomach.
So yeah, especially
So
where the ref can't see.
the challenge is called Steer Clear. We've got the cast members trying to grab the flags off the cars while on the boom, which would be controlled by the other cast member. I think within this challenge, I didn't love it as much as last challenge, but I do think these challenges make for the best season opener, like as far as the trailer. Like there's something about a truck challenge that always seems to make the edit as like this season on the challenge. Yeah.
You see a person flying back and forth and grabbing flags with all these nice cars flying all over the place.
Yeah,
very good in trailers.
Yeah, visually it always looks really massive. Maybe they have an aerial cinematographer, covering the whole thing. You have a bite where like Ayana's a sound bite where Ayana's like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I think for the level of like making this show feel strong, this was a good challenge. It was called Steer Clear. The lines have been drawn, as you keep mentioning. Where, Richard? In the sand.
I think every team has mentioned it in this challenge. Almost every as they're hanging upside down saying, hey, look how badass I look. But the lines have been drawn.
Yeah. Typically, I don't really like shows that are so this side.
We should make a drinking game to that. Every time they say the lines have been drawn, take a drink.
Yeah, actually. Because it is basically a 50-50. My thoughts with the 50-50 is, I guess it's just inevitable in this game, but I always like a little bit of a I don't want to say somebody who's riding the fence, but somebody who kind of connects to both teams, because sometimes 50-50 is tougher to watch because it ends up being like if your team won and somebody from that alliance won, they have the power over the entire other 50% of the house. I tend to be a little bored by that. I like a little bit, as we mentioned within season 6.
I'm okay with it just because last place team gets thrown in. So even if the winners are against, if it's a team that gets on your side, comes in last place, even though you're winner, they got to go in regardless. That's why I'm okay. Now, it hasn't happened that way. It's been like Brad and Darrell, they've been winning. And the last place teams have been coming from the King's Palace side.
Right.
So it's worked out where
which is the only reason why.
And the only time it didn't work out that way, Brad wins versus Derek.
Right.
And so like every time a team's won, their side hasn't got last place.
Which is the only reason it's even extra corny for Brad to be concerned about, Nehemiah, he's on the opposite side, but his team is whatever, as he was talking to Janelle earlier. It's so corny because if you really think about it, hey, you guys that are flaunting and gloating, your win. You actually didn't win. You just didn't lose. If you think about it, Nehemiah, for as loud as he is, his team had won. Nothing. I mean,
there's your beef with Real World Austin again.
I mean, it's like they're so silly to me. Anyways, but they just have when we do this recap, season episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're never hearing Latarian won, Tech won, Nehemiah won. We are hearing. Did we ever hear
Jody?
I think Ayana.
Jody every time.
I think Ayana may have won. I'm not sure, but she's not.
No, she's been down in the arena more than anyone else.
No, but I'm not talking about the arena. I'm talking about the winners that set the tone of the episode. Like, it's just so funny that as loud as they are, they're not even winning right now. They're winning in the sense of they didn't get eliminated and they got to come back in the house, but you didn't win. The people who won, especially in this challenge, were Brad and Jody. So that's just so interesting to me that the people that what are you cheering for? That you came back. They're just silly to me.
Safety Palace.
It's a song that won't be on my Spotify playlist. No, I mean I like Tech.
No,
of the group. Yeah.
No, mine either. But you watch the show enough, it starts to get in your head.
Oh, I mean, I hope not. Anyways, the winners here, as we were mentioning, I'm not listening to you, were Brad and Jody. Our losers are Latarian and Jasmine, but they have the life shield. Well, let me see.
There's that Jasmine with the 9 lives. She didn't even win, and she got a life shield because of her partner.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that. It's like That's interesting. Wait, so Laterian and Jasmine lose this competition, but they don't both have a life shield. Oh wait, yes they do.
Yeah, Jasmine gets it because she partnered up with Laterian, who got the life shield because so she got an
Oh
automatic freebie.
wow. Oh, Tyler's probably watching this from home. Like,
Yeah, it's
damn,
like, damn, you sank my boat and you
she
got
she should have
double
came
life.
with me. Yeah. So okay. Tech and Ayana.
So
Um.
they get the second most score, so they're going in.
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just like losing it because I like Jasmine, but to think that the life shield that she didn't, there should almost be a what's his name? TJ should almost say, okay, it was a special circumstance. Kendall went home. Jasmine, you get to stay, but she shouldn't really get a life shield to save her for the next episode for no reason, Richard.
And
Ooh.
she got the winning person in that elimination either way. So whoever came back, she had a life shield.
I'm surprised if Ayana ends up going in on the basis of that, Tech and Ayana. Why isn't Ayana or
Well, they
somebody?
are going in.
Well, but this would be the reasoning. This would be like,
Yeah, because
yeah. And what do you, and the reason, and the real thing is Jasmine could turn it right back on Ayana and say, oh, you're just being salty because you have to go in, which is actually true. But at the same time, somebody has the wherewithal to at least call Jasmine. Oh, that's lucky. I like Jasmine.
9 lives for Jasmine.
You know what? You know why she earned it, Richard? I'll tell you, because she was the confessional queen of the season. That's
Yeah,
why.
I mean, you're in the top 3 of confessional queen.
If you hit confessionals that good and you're that funny, once you get the 2 camera shot, and you explain, you're a great narrator of the season, you might walk away with the life shield. Anyways, Tech and Ayana going in. So as far as nominations, we have CoHosted, Casey, Nehemiah, and Melinda.
Yeah, and this was kind of like last week or last episode with who went in, John A and MJ. They kind of already knew the votes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was going to be Nehemiah and Melinda regardless.
So CoHosted and Casey become like a pawn. Like we're just putting you in.
There's just no one else. Yeah.
And so the only votes are going to come, and they're coming from within our alliance. CoHosted, you are safe. That's what CoHosted feels.
Yeah, it's pretty much going to be a 4-0 vote.
Oh, then this is going to be a tough episode then, Richard, because CoHosted feels as safe can be. Really, he does.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Brad wins. Anytime their side wins, they should feel safe.
But then we did not expect
their
alliance
their alliance is moving pretty well, and they feel like they're getting towards the end of the game. So
okay, well,
this about 4 teams will be in the final. So if you could have your 4 teams, that'd be solid.
Okay, well then I feel for CoHosted because at this point, at this stage of the game, he's like, okay, listen, I didn't win, but my teammates won, Brad and Jody. I'm put up, but my numbers will indicate that me and Casey will come back. Nehemiah and Melinda will essentially be going up against Tech and Ayana, which is just such a great win for the Brad Darrell side. They don't have a name, Jody side, because it's like they're all going up against each other. That's what we're feeling now. But this episode is trouble. Yeah, right. Yeah, level-headed palace, always winning. No,
winning palace.
Yeah. So the remix. So CoHosted. Wow, I'm just like on CoHosted and that feeling he must be having at this particular portion.
It's good. Yeah.
He's nothing. Nothing. Okay. Well, everyone goes to the bar. There's animosity building. And this is just, well, what was your thoughts on that?
This is where Nehemiah's kind of
taunting,
talking up, like from across the bar, like loud enough where Brad and all them could hear, and saying, Brad's my friend. Was he throwing me in, and all this other stuff. And the one side, Laterian, they're getting all, amped up, ready to go, like F this, F that.
But why were they talking like Hulk Hogan, all of them, or the Macho Man Randy Savage? Like what Laterian's like, you want to beat me, you get in front of me. Like what is going on? Like who taught them this?
He's over there like, why don't you come take me?
But Richard, let me tell you,
move. I'm not going out. Let your own guy take you out,
Richard. But also, you guys, your team, this particular group, they haven't been
Who's my team? Am I
winning.
on the winning team or the?
No, I'm saying that this particular group, the ones who's sitting there, which is Jasmine, Latarian, Melinda, Tech, Ayana, and Nehemiah. They're not winning. I mean, they have done a good job on coming back for sure. I'm not going to knock that. They actually have done really good going in elimination. I can't imagine what elimination's like. But what I'm saying is it doesn't match up. Like there is a world where somebody's laughing at them, where they're like, why are they talking like they're Macho Man Randy Savage and they haven't
Well,
even
and then
won?
it's like, yeah, it's like that passive aggressiveness to say it loud enough where they can kind of hear you, but they can't hear you. You're like, come on.
Yeah,
Are we in high school still?
I was like,
I guess.
you guys look so silly. Like on a lot of levels,
And
they don't
Patty,
look silly, but in this particular level, they looked a little bit silly because, you know, it's like one of those things. Reality TV is really weird. If you do something like that, it'll make the cut. But in regular life, there's no world where the people that are getting dominated and losing and having to like fight for their, you know, chance to come back get to like, well, they could talk that way, but the rest of the group are going to be laughing at them. It's only reality TV where you could get those, I'm going to go in and you're going to go up against me and I'm going to take you on, sucker. That gets edited and almost looks more dominating. Like I had to scratch my head, Richard, before, and I was like, wait a minute. They're really like almost fooling me by watching the edit where I'm thinking, oh yeah, Nehemiah's team, they're balling. And I'm like, wait a minute, they haven't even won. When Melinda, you know, they try to get these moments where they're like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you. Cause Brad and Nehemiah have a moment too. And it's always like, well, I
because
wouldn't.
you can't, you keep losing.
That's my point. The nicest way to say it, my point is don't tell me what you wouldn't
Sorry, real
do.
world Austin. I'm on your side, not Ronnie. I'm on your side.
I'm just saying, don't tell me what you wouldn't do if you couldn't get to the wouldn't part. You can't even get to the I wouldn't do part. We need to have like a cast member, like a choral, just to come in and just be in the middle of it all and be like, Nehemiah, you've not won. Let's simmer down. Anyway, but I do applaud what I will say is I don't want, because I like all the cast members in general. We're just being critical because of the episodes. I hate or would hate
minus
to see
Austin. You don't like Austin.
Stop it. I would hate to see Brad and Nehemiah because they make up, you know, after this the where they all had went to have drinks. They sort of make up the next day. Because honestly, it's a great show for us as a consumer. You know, we get to watch it, we get to enjoy it. I would hate real friendships to be dissolved by this stupid show. You know what I mean? So I like that at least at this stage of the show,
Yeah,
we
cooler heads will prevail. So yeah, they have their little coffee, their little morning on the balcony.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to see any real friendship messed up over this.
Yeah.
Unless if you're Johnny Bananas and Sarah.
Yeah, I mean,
or Ashley and what's the guy's name?
Gunner? No.
It's something.
Hunter.
Why can I not think it was Hunter?
Brock. So Casey, earlier she had kind of in the episode we'd kind of see that she was feeling maybe she had been, you know, pregnant, and it turns out that she is. She tells her fiance it's something that she's going to keep to herself. Richard, is she telling Kahada or she's telling nobody in the house? What's the
no, right now she doesn't know what's going to happen, so she shows her fiance the 3 pregnancy little sticks. And she's all, well, I'm not going to say anything yet because I'm not sure the outcome of this, and I don't want it to change the vote because right now it's going to be 4-0 on Nehemiah, and they don't want to put on Kahada just in case they're like, oh, Casey's going anyway.
Right.
And she doesn't want to ruin Kahada's game, so she's going to keep it to herself as long as possible.
Yeah.
And then I believe till, you know, production and everything.
So she thought of it in the regards of strategy for a team that she's no longer with. Yeah.
I mean, she's not going to keep it to herself that long, but I think the vote's coming right around the corner. So like, let them vote like normally will, and then she'll figure it out with production.
Well, then I guess she doesn't have to worry about being in the selection. CoHosted, Casey, Nehemiah, and Melinda, they're all in selection. Selection becomes interesting. Nehemiah talks, and this is what we love to see, because while we could be critical on some things, like I say, this Macho Man Randy Savage voice is so funny to me. On another side, you want to know why people do what they do and where they're coming from. Nehemiah speaks to, the concept of kings and the legacy that he's trying to put forth. And he actually keeps it playful and fun towards the end of it, within the regards of, he spoke his piece. He got to say why he's doing what he's doing and why his alliance makes a lot of sense, and it does. I think Janelle had a really good talking point to go with that as well, stepped in and sort of given differences of opinion as well, and concluding as to why. Like, the why was because of this great thing that you're building. I know that numbers will never fall my way. It was a great structural sentence for Janelle, and a great way to observe what Nehemiah is trying to put forth, but also making sure Janelle's gameplay doesn't get knocked in the entirety of it, which I thought was really good. So that basically creates this moment where everyone has gonna say what they're gonna say, and it does culminate in like Nehemiah kind of probably already saying what he's saying, but already knowing like these numbers aren't in my favor. So he hits us with the oh, well, I'm gonna do exactly what Ayana did, and it turns out he slept in his jersey just like Ayana, which was kind of fun and unexpected. Did you see that coming?
The Ayana jersey. I mean, it's always fun to say, and they've said it a couple times, but no, I didn't see it coming at all, and it was it made everyone kind of laugh.
They laughed indeed, and it's the fun side of Nehemiah for sure.
Slept in my jersey.
There's one day they should all sleep in their jersey, and it'll be even funnier. No elimination, because now Casey has to talk about CoHosted. Well, not talk about CoHosted, but explain to CoHosted and the entire group about the pregnancy, and they take it right to the wire. Obviously TJ knows, obviously production knows, but it's right before they start, like, wait a minute, there's not going to be an elimination, because that elimination was looking like basically two people that liked each other. Even Latarian had a hard time. He's like, oh my god, Nehemiah and Tech, you're going to be out there. I'm going to be losing someone, essentially. It was kind of like a really dark moment in their regards of who they wanted to stay in the game. So they're all out there, every single one of them. Melinda's there, Nehemiah's there, Tech is there, and who else?
Well, they're at their arena. They're there for elimination. That's what I liked about it. They didn't like do it beforehand. They're at the elimination.
Yeah, they're right up to the wire.
They're all there, and they're like getting ready, and then he goes, "Good news or bad news?" Yeah. I never know the right answer to that. Do I want good news first? Do I want bad news? I don't ever want bad news.
I don't think it's a consistent answer. I think if it's with TJ, you have to say, give me the good news first. I think other situations that might not be the same way to answer it. But if it's TJ, say, I want the good news first.
Okay. I just flip a coin, I think.
No, I don't do it across the board. If it's it's different every time. But in this situation, you ask for the good news, because the good news,
the odds ever be in your favor.
The good news could overweigh it, I think. I don't know. But yeah,
it was kind of like the good news and the bad news, and then he kind of gives Casey the floor in front of all of them to kind of share the news.
And this opens up such an excitement for Casey. Of course, CoHosted makes the joke, it's not mine. And we learn that she's going to be leaving. So basically nobody's going to be eliminated. No eliminations.
Big news for the safety palace.
Tech has this dynamite confessional where he says, oh, no one is going home today.
Back it up.
We got to back up the trucks. And we see like a little challenge truck go behind the green screen. It was just a really fun moment and an exciting moment for, like I said, Latarian being upset and sad that one of his two greatest allies are going home. And that didn't happen. But sadly, though, Richard, CoHosted does have to go home with Casey. Remember in the earlier part of this episode here, we were talking about CoHossed's not going home on any level. He's just the pawn. He's just a number that needs to go up. And then good old pregnancy. Casey says,
and you see how good of a guy he is, because he's like, well, that's just life. Like, life doesn't always fall your way. Some things are bigger than this challenge of, of Casey starting her own family, and he took it like a champ.
And I mean, in the sense of being asked back, like if you stampede and get mad and it's unfair, which it could be unfair to a degree. Why should I have to go? Kind of the same way Tyler says, why should I have to get voted out and Jasmine doesn't come out with me? And yet
Jasmine doesn't. 9 lives.
But yeah, 9 lives. But then in this particular episode, so in one hand, Jasmine's not with Tyler as a teammate, but in this situation, Cohutta has to be with Casey. So it's kind of but Cohutta makes the right decision, because you basically tell the producers, you tell TJ that you give good sportsmanship. I'm pretty sure he's coming back, that kind of a thing. So that, to that degree, was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and if you just look at it, all his other seasons, he doesn't seem like a person that would storm off. I mean, if you're just looking like good guy credit throughout the years, he's probably one of the higher ones.
Oh, you know who has a better good guy credit is Steve, 52-year-old Steve, the hand model.
Who? What? Who's that? I don't remember that guy.
Do we ever agree? This has been fun. Okay, so let's keep moving along. As I want to reiterate, we usually do episodes, singularly, but we're doing it compacted this time, just because of our schedules. But moving forward, Challenge All-Stars 3.
Who's Steve?
Would you stop it? This is my brother. You got to know, this is what I've been dealing with for all my I've known Richard since I was a baby. Okay. I've known my brother forever, and it's always this nonsense. But
Steve, where are you?
We are just trucking along, and we're on our way to episode 8, but this has been episode 7 of the Challenge All-Stars, and this wraps up this particular episode.
Safety Palace.
All right, so rounding off the Challenge All-Stars season 2, our recap of 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. It is episode 8 with You Drive Me Crazy. This is actually pretty exciting, Richard, because they do come back into the house, making this Safety Palace like a legit song. Everyone's having fun with it. Well, not everyone, not the other side of the house, but Nehemiah's having fun with it. Tech is having fun with it. Latarian's having fun with it, and they're really making it, like I said, like an actual song, and just goofy with it. Like it looks really fun, actually.
Are you going to join their side of the house?
Why do you say that?
It sounds like you want to join the dance party.
No, I'm just giving
dance with them.
No,
Terry goes. He's like, hey, normally you don't see me dancing, but how do you know I dance with Tech and Nehemiah?
No, not at all. I just think it's fun for them. I think they're having a good time. It's, they are proud. I mean, it's funny because they do come back and not have, they didn't win anything. The only thing they did was not go in. I mean, they went into arena, but they didn't face anyone because Casey had to go. So it actually shouldn't be called the Safety Palace. It should be called the Casey Palace. No, I'm joking.
There you go.
Ayana enjoys Tech yet again. So this whole vibe, we're just getting.
Please explain. What does she enjoy about him?
Oh, you said you want me to explain or not explain?
No, I was just saying, like she's all over Tech.
I said that she likes Tech and his money. That's the way to say it. Like she likes Tech and his money, and she likes his charisma. So, speaking of the episode 8 here, and kudos to the enjoyment that we're giving by recapping these shows, because it's fun for us. So listen, MJ and Janae, they strategize, and I do think they make a pretty good team. This was my own thought. I was like, I really like them together as a team. What do you think of them?
Well, Janae came a long way last season. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of carried it on this season as well. And then MJ's obviously the big guy and has strength. So, I mean, that definitely helps Janae. That's probably one of her weaker spots, yet she's improved on it quite a bit. But she's always given it 110% and never given up. And she's starting to get better and better. And it's almost like a confidence. Her confidence is going up. So they both communicate well. I think that's what you need in a lot of these challenges, is just good communication between the two people.
Yeah, a competitor, not a competitor, but a teammate rather, who could motivate you and push you is a fine line, hard to find, and it's great when you see it. So I thought I saw that through Janae and MJ. And I see a more grown MJ. You know, he was younger. I didn't really love him on the Real World Philadelphia. He did seem like he knew everything, like he knew everything about life. He just knew at 24.
Ooh, there's another beef of yours. Team MJ over
Richard,
here. I'm Team MJ.
You you focus in on the wrong things. I'm saying I see like a little bit of that growth we talk about. We talk about like they're now doing these shows and they have kids watching them, you know, they're kids and they want to show good sportsmanship but still be badass. And I don't know, MJ,
hey, MJ,
really,
I got your back from back in the day. You and Landon.
no,
Let's
I mean
go.
Richard's alluding to the fact that I didn't really like MJ on the Real World Philadelphia as much, but I'm liking him a little bit more now, and that's fair to say. People do come off differently or grow differently, and MJ and Janae, I'm kind of like, oh, you know, we think on this show, Jody and Brad, but I don't know, these two kind of got it going on as well. Darrell and Janelle, I don't know, maybe even Nehemiah and Melinda. You just don't know, but some way, somehow, there's a lot of teams that you're starting to look at as like, oh, these could be our front runners. If they run it together, I don't know if they're running it together or solo. Chances are they're running the final solo. I would assume. I'm not sure though.
I'm going to say as pairs. It's a good little.
Oh, okay. Maybe we actually don't know at this point. Episode 8 here. The next challenge is called Divide and Conquer. I liked this challenge. I always make mention when the challenges that I enjoyed because there's a handful that I don't like. Like there's too much bells and whistles. There's too much with the, you know, explosions in the background, and I'm just more like
more bells, more whistles.
No,
more
see, Richard likes that. I do not like that. But I will say, on a confident or a complimentary side, I liked this one, Richard. This dive and conquer. So you basically are going to have to run a half mile to a cenote, jump from that point, and then where you have to answer an answer key, I guess it is. And then you have to memorize that answer key, but then run back and solve the puzzle. But if you don't do this, you know, like I guess favorably the first time, which who could, you have to go back and forth to help solve that particular equation. But it's going to be a mile round trip. So every attempt is, unless you do it very well off the beginning, is going to be really wearing on you.
Yeah, it's like a game of memory for the most part, a jog in a memory. So
yeah, what's your strategy? Oh, and there's no life shield, which I like. What's your strategy on this? What do you do? Do you divide the hey, you look out for colors, I look out for shapes? Like how do you do it with your teammate, Rich? What do you suggest?
I mean, depending on the size of the puzzle, but if you're talking about this one in particular, I probably try to set it up in 3 parts for each person. So that's 3 trips. And so like I'll remember the top left, you remember top right. And so on, break it up in thirds and try to remember the colors for those, run back, get those. Now do middle left and you do middle right. Remember those, do bottom left, bottom right. If someone could do it in 2, that seems like a lot of puzzles to memorize. Even 3 is a lot. So I think 3 is a good amount for the size of the puzzle. And you kind of fill it out. I mean, you know, after a time or two, how many more times you're going to have to go back or not, though.
And and then you have to still conserve your energy. Oh, and they're running tethered to each other too. That's another fun. I liked it because it felt like a mini challenge. I mean, it was a mini challenge, but I liked that feeling of a mini challenge.
Well, like TJ was saying, if you can't run this mini final, you can't run my main final.
Well, that's crazy because this was a pretty challenging mini. This didn't even feel like a mini. This felt like you could have added 3 more things and it would have been a regular final. So it was a little bit of a mind screw with you know, that he said that, because there were some people that were exhausted.
You're going to have overnight. It's only a final nowadays if there's an overnight part of it.
Oh no, and there's only a final if they have to eat something. I don't like the eating. You seem to be who cares? Like I'm not into that.
It's not my favorite. I don't think you need it for every final, but you got to keep it in just here and there to keep them on their toes.
Mm. As long as they don't have to eat the chili pepper, that's a little bit of a cruel cruel thing. But
I'll
we'll
eat
see.
the chili pepper. It's
We'll.
some of those like the maggots that are moving, or
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
the ones that are still alive.
There seems like there should be a fine line between challenges that push you and then challenges that like physically make you ill. You know, it's like I'm not gonna run TJ's
Mind over
final.
matter.
Not if no, I don't want to be growing a third arm or something like that, you know. Well,
It could
well,
be handy.
well, if you're
No pun intended.
or if you're tech,
Oh,
tech and his money, says Ayana. No, moving on, Richard. Mini final, some things that I was gonna think about is, it's a they were detailed. Those painted skulls, they appear that they weren't as detailed as they were, but they certainly were detailed. Another thing to note within the movement, I think Darrell said it, is that, you know, when you run on a treadmill, that's one thing, but when you run in this terrain, I mean, you very easily could, you know, damage an ankle or something like that. It's certainly a harder challenge, you know.
Yeah, you look at the main ship show. I mean, Casey was talking about that this season when she won it with CT on her the season before, like riding that train, and she pretty much blew her knee out. And then coming back and running on that type of unstable ground makes things so much tougher. It's easy to twist an ankle. It's easy to, you know, hyperextend a knee or whatever.
Yeah, so it's a little more than a mini final. Well, it's a lot of work. I mean, the cast gets exhausted, you know, and it's all of them. Nobody's doing this easily. None of them. They're all really working hard.
TJ don't like it easy.
Oh goodness. TJ needs to not be hosting this one. He could host the regular
Whoa,
one.
whoa, whoa,
And we need to
whoa.
bring
You
in
might bring
Eric
TJ up.
Neese. Eric Neese should be
Ronnie TJ 5. Eric Neese.
Eric Neese should be the
He's
challenge.
busy homecoming. He's a what, Charmin?
He has been on both homecomings. You're right, and he has a special career of his own, but he's mentioned he wanted to do the challenge as a contestant, so I know he'd be game for at least that part, and I'd like to see him. Moving on though, Jasmine does get hurt. What do you do in that situation? Your Latarian's her castmate, but teammate. What do you do when, like, it just looks like she's not going to make it?
I mean, all you can do is try to help her to the best of her ability. I mean, it's frustrating, but there's not much that you can do.
Your motivation style is what? Like just trying to make them feel like they could, I don't know. Yeah. Like you can't be that nice about it. You do need them to like come through, but sometimes the body just can't move or it's, you know, like physically, physically hurt.
Jasmine, who's so small, like jump on my back like you're a little backpack, or I don't know. But then you're tired as hell, so yeah. I mean, it's a hard place to be in. I mean, God, I just referenced it, but when Casey got hurt, a lot of Fessy haters were against how he played the game after that and stuff. So you're kind of in a no-win situation when your partner gets hurt.
That is true. I remember the way people reacted to Fessy, you know, sort of saying, well, we're not going to win anyway, so why should I have to do this? Which was a point that I saw as a bit valid, even though that's not the sportsmanship way. It is true. You're right. It's a tough call. It really is. I laughed when Nehemiah, I think it was Nehemiah, he said, you know, the King's Palace needs a win. I laughed because I said, Nehemiah, you guys haven't won all season. Like the way he talks as if he's
oh no, real world Boston.
Is it a stat or am I lying that we need a win? You have needed a win. This is our recap number 8, right? This is our 8th one. I mean, we've broken down the episodes into 3 different episodes, but the point is we've recapped each of the Paramount Plus episodes, right? And it's the 8th one. I have yet to say out of my mouth as a podcast host, oh, and Nehemiah won. They may have done okay in eliminations in the arena and strategy, but they have not won. So the fact that like he's so like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Nehemiah, he's like, you know, the King's Palace, man, like they really need a win. And I'm just like,
well, I mean, obviously a win's good, but how about we just do half of it? Hey, King's Palace, just don't come in last place for once.
Okay, I could go with that. I could go. I said it in a funnier way, but I can go with you're right. Just not. You're right. To equal that bold and confident and fun singing and yelling upstairs, that the other cast members have to kind of deal with, the Brads and the Darrells and the Jodys and the Janelles. Yeah, to have a little bit more. It makes sense. Okay, I'll leave it at that. That was smart.
I mean, they haven't come in last place, and you come in last place. There's no voting. There's no nothing. You're automatically going in, and
Very
that's
good.
the equalizer in this game.
Yeah.
So like they could say, oh, one side of the house has. If you just don't come in last place on your side of the house, you're guaranteed you against, or the one side against the other.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not knocking somebody who's that ambitious when you're still losing. There it goes. Nehemiah should get the award for being the most ambitious while not actually winning. I could see now there's an award I could give him. Moving on, we have Janelle and Darrell. They differ slightly in their strategy. Is this any cause for alarm because they are very close and they work well together, or is it just like a little oversight?
I would say had they not worked so many challenges so well together, then it might be a little alarm. But I think they have great communication and they work really well in general. So I wouldn't worry about too much.
Little errors like that happen all the time. It's not that big. Yeah. And they have good character with each other. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know Janelle would perform the way she's been performing. And I don't mean that as a slight. Like, I'm actually really enjoying the way she talks with people, the way she's assertive when she needs to be, the way she doesn't take anything too serious if it's not serious. And even, I mean, it was a confessional, but kind of like explaining that her and Darrell have different strategies. It's like, there's nothing wrong with that, but it is a little bit of a roadblock.
Well, how many challenges? She just did the one, or did she do two?
I want to say two, but I'm not for sure, actually.
Because she's with your boys, MJ and Landon, wasn't she, when they won?
Oh, that one, yeah. But that was years ago. Yeah, she didn't really strike me as a challenge contestant, like as if she wanted to do it, but maybe she did. Maybe she was into this.
But from back then, I don't really remember her ever going in. So you figure she had good gameplay then, and she was strong enough.
Yeah, that could be.
So,
well, good for her.
Maybe she could have been a challenge legend if she would have. Because I like the way she's playing her game.
Well, and that's another thing. And as we finish another random recap for the specific episodes, we'll probably start moving into like where we interview some of the cast members, because I do want to get a little bit more who, what, where.
Janelle.
I want to get a little bit more of a who, what, where, and why with certain choices and cast members. Like, it's like, I think Tyler just mentioned on a podcast, that like, yeah, he's won the two, but he kind of never really got asked back. So it's really not that we would get the answer as to like why producers choose certain people to come back, but like, I sometimes want to know, people like Janelle, was she kind of away from the challenge scene because she wanted to, and she was going to build her own, life outside of this TV show? Or was she interested in coming back and just no one ever asked her? Because, like I said, Tyler specifically said, no, I would have came back. It's just he never got a call. So I'm always interested.
And it was good TV. So
he's one of the he's one of yeah. So that's a bit intriguing. So we'll start between this and when we get to Challenge All-Stars 3, you and I, we could maybe move into the world of interviewing some of these cast members and just kind of talking about their stories and the challenge in general. Anyways, outside of another little roadblock there, we have Jody realizing that the horns were something that you had to also look out for. Hey, she hasn't made many errors, but that seems like a significant error. You would assume that you're looking at every detail, but that was a detail she kind of omitted, which could have led to a problem. And she still worked with Brad decently as well, I think,
Didn't come in last.
Right. Yeah. Nehemiah, take notes. But it was good. I mean, I liked these little roadblocks with Darrell and Janelle and Jody and Brad and what Latarian, how does he face, being there for a hurt partner. I like that. I thought this mini challenge was a 1 out of 10. I was very into it. I was good with it. I was actually meaning to tell you.
You just did.
I mean, I was meaning to text you like, oh, look at this. So winners, we have MJ and Janae, which, I was saying I was building some interest with Janae and MJ as a team. Janae mentions that they can stay in the alliance or make a big move. When they're making their selection process, there's that really funny moment where Janae says, oh, well, we should do this, and here's the reason why. It's a chance to take out like a Darrell or a Brad type, a Jody type or whatever. And MJ says, well, go for it. And then it sort of is edited to where it would go to commercial, so you think it's true, and then they're like, nah, just kidding. It's worth the conversation, but there was no way that they'd ever be putting up one of their people, right?
They did edit that pretty well. It's hard. MJ was never doing it. Part of me thinks that Janae still kind of wanted to do it at the end of the day.
Really?
But she wasn't 100% on it. So it's always easier to go with your partner who was 100% not doing it, because they didn't know when the final was at that point and stuff. So why you pretty much have the whole house on you. If you're going to do a move like that, you want to do it only if it's like the last mission.
Yeah, it would have been playing early. And I always wonder with the Allstars, because they are older, they have their own lives, they have kids, they have different things going on, versus the challenge, the regular younger season. You don't want to make certain type of moves because that may follow you when you come back and do other challenges. But some of them, I mean, who knows? Janae's lovely or whatever, but she may not come back. And if her chance to get, the big money, you have to take a big move. You're not playing it scared. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You're not playing it scared like the young challenge cast members where they're like, oh, if I play this move, it's going to hurt me later on, when I come back and have to face these people. You could do it. You could be as sneaky as you want, because half of these, as Steve said, I'm not seeing you guys till 18 years later. But
who's that?
Steve, Hawaiian Steve. Yeah.
I don't remember that guy.
I don't think that it was a big enough. I think MJ might have mentioned this. Maybe Janae too. It wasn't a big enough for sure thing. In theory, it was worth, and this is what makes Janae a great cast member. It was worth the while to calculate that in my head and say, oh, we're getting down to it. If I could cut one of mine, I mean, sorry, it's a great strategy. And I need to make sure I'm running. I mean, I'm running with MJ. I like my teammate, but I'd rather be running with the Nehemiah and Melinda who have not won. I'd rather give myself a better shot. If I'm running next to Brad, yeah, he's my teammate, but he's won all the time. If I'm running next to Jody, she's won all the time. She makes a great point. She really, really does. And that was a fun watch as a viewer. Like, that was really fun.
I think there's only two ways you make that move. And one is if it's the last one. And that's easy. I think anyone can understand that. The other way is if you feel you're one or two away, and then whoever the two biggest ones, you would probably say Darrell and Janelle and Brad. And if one of those two teams came in last place, then maybe you because then you're getting rid of one of them for sure.
Oh, right.
But say you put Brad and them against Nehemiah and they come back, you're like, you got rid of your whole alliance for no reason.
You put a target on your back, you ruined your alliance, and yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah,
but I knew
I need to make
she was
sure I'm getting rid of someone bigger than me.
So if it wasn't an element, if it was like closer. Oh, I think she said this too. If it was closer to the final, then yes, maybe. But since it's not
if
close
they
to
said, "Oh, this is their last one," boom. Okay.
But again, yeah,
we find out later that when we get there, that next week would be a time to do it, but
you're
not this week.
You're so right about that, like being close but not close enough to do it. But I'm giving the hats off to like Janae thinking that way, because the type of player that thinks that way,
definitely something good to think through, and it'll bring it up with your partner
when they seem to be strong. Like I really enjoy them. Anyways, the way it broke down though, just in general of the winning was MJ Janae. The second place was Darrell and Janelle. Third place was Nehemiah and Melinda, which is shocking. I mean, Nehemiah that high in the rankings. Wow.
Whoa,
Brad and
geez.
Jody, Ayana.
Hashtag Nehemiah.
Uh,
Hashtag Real World Austin.
There's a new reality show in Austin called 20 something Austin or something like that. I think
of course I do. I watched him one day.
I think the reality TV, the aura of reality TV had said, that Real World Austin was so insignificant. We need to like counter it by having another series. And supposedly that show's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh boy.
It just was. Everyone knows Real World Austin dropped the ball. They just know it was the season that could have been, but that never was. Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Hey, Real World Austin, I got your back over here, huh?
And last place.
That new Austin reality show. Pretty good. I watched it.
Yeah. I've seen a couple episodes. It's fun. And yeah, I don't know the rest. I'll have to watch more. And it's nice to see profiles of the neighborhoods and stuff like that, the cities and the young people and the way they're kind of like starting their adulthood. I think that's
cool. Nice to see like a real world again.
It feels like a real world
concept, right?
Yeah. Again, they must have went through game tape and said, hey, see this Melinda, Danny, Rachel, Johanna, and there's do the opposite. And that's what created a great series. Anyways, Jasmine and Latarian are the last place. The filling in the house is good, so much so that the song is the great Tony Raphael Sadiq's group. It feels good, which made sense for the moment. I don't always need my songs, I don't always need the song to match the words vocally, but it's nice when they can, and the song has good energy too. Jasmine is in last place for the third time, as you alluded to before. She has a little bit of a 9 lives situation. It's got to be wearing on her. I mean, it just has to.
Well, when you lose that much.
Oh, come on, be nice. She's a fun watch. She's great.
Great in the confessional. Hey, top 3, maybe top 1.
Yeah, she's up there. So this is a big nomination based on, even what Janae was alluding to. But anyway, we all know it's not going to happen. But MJ and Janae, they select one team. Janae talks game by moving, by contemplating to put up Brad and Jody and Darrell. We've already sort of spoke upon that. And we've already spoke upon the way, what's his name? I just have this written in my notes. The way MJ says,
MJ and Landon.
The way that MJ says, fuck it. Put one of their names up there, which is just so warm, fun to me. Like MJ just doesn't seem fun always, and he was fun there. But I'm just reiterating.
He doesn't seem fun. He came out and was dancing with Tyler earlier in the season.
I heard in a podcast interview, Tyler actually they really did get along quite a bit. MJ and Tyler became real close. I guess they may have like grown up locally in the same type of environment or whatever, neighborhoods or whatever. No, he's great. Richard, just because I said somebody was uninteresting before doesn't mean I think they're going to be uninteresting now.
He was.
And wait, let me finish. And the same thing is, just because I think someone like Coral was amazing doesn't mean maybe she comes back and maybe she isn't as exciting. You don't
Coral's
know.
Probably still amazing.
Oh, nobody's a confessional queen when Coral's sitting there. She doesn't fight. She beats bitches up. So you have Ayana cleaning, which she makes a great point. Oh, when I'm cleaning, this wonderful location, I can't have this be all sloppy and dirty. I could agree to that. That is, yeah. And you could imagine challenge competitors, they're not being as tidy as necessary. However,
these are older people.
Meaning what? What's that have to point to do?
I think the younger ones are a little bit more dirtier and party animal style.
But even though they keep a good homekeeping in their regular homes, when you're on that like vacation mode, I can see how you get a little messy too.
Yeah.
But
just
also
having roommates again.
Right. But also Ayana, either pick it up or shut up is kind of like, I think what a lot of people kind of, it's a weird complaint because you still, yes, I want it to be beautiful as well, but you also are in a living situation substantially bigger than anything unless any of those cast members live in a place like that regularly. I think you should just kind of go with it. It is a little nasty. I would say the kitchen would be the one thing I'd be the most strict about. Like, can we at least clean this kitchen at least,
Well, let's just say gameplay wise, you never bring it up. It doesn't matter if there's flies in there. You do not bring it up if you're doing gameplay only.
Oh, see, now I would have to bring it up if there's flies in the kitchen, Richard.
Kick them out, put them up.
You know who you know who would have made a mention if there was flies in the kitchen? Steve. Steve would have said, "You guys, you know that there's flies in the kitchen."
No, it would have been Trey from Real World St. Thomas. Oh, that guy.
Not your favorite. Yeah.
Oh, you could hashtag him. So you have all the beefs. I gotta have one of my
I'm not hashtagging nobody. So this Jody salad thing is funny because Ayanna is using her cleaning story as to why she ended up eating this salad. And Jody's like, oh yeah, she stole the salad. She told me, like, be quiet, you're privileged to be even eating this salad, this, that, and the other. And then that sort of turned like just into a thing. And that's to say Ayanna's been sort of coming at Jody a little bit throughout the season. So I think it's Ayanna just being ornery. It's kind of really what it was. And it felt like it was kind of a nothing situation other than Ayanna being kind of tacky to do that. But then Jasmine kind of jumped in. And I don't know if it was just Jasmine being tired of being, her 9 lives within the game. She's been kind of tired at this point of always having to try to fight, but it made her not happy. And she did go to speak with Ayanna. She went to go talk with her. She went to go kind of tell her, just be quiet about it. And, to not pick on Jody, kind of a deal. Like she kind of felt the need. It didn't start too loud or anything like that, but I will just say Jasmine got some steam off, which I thought was important. And Ayanna was
played a great social game this year too, overall. Even when she was with Laterra and she's like, did I believe him? No, but I'm not going to tell him that, and I'll let him do his own thing. And
right.
So because she was friends with the other side of the house, and she's come a long way. She was the one with all the outbursts when she was younger, and now she's the voice of reason.
That's why I think her outburst here, I hope it doesn't get looked at as just another Jasmine outburst from years of yesterday. It was an outburst of, come on, Ayanna. We know this is how you are. We know you're ornery. We know you pick on people to a degree. All that aside,
she slept in her jersey.
Yeah, don't do this to this girl, Jody. Like, it was really just that. So Jasmine coming through, it was a mixed bag, because it was a little bit of her coming through at a right time to say, come on, Ayanna. And then once Ayanna kind of snapped back at her too, and they kind of went at each other, I think Jasmine got to let all that tense energy of losing so much.
She's been holding it.
She's been holding it, yeah. Yeah. The main, huh?
Where's Steve?
Steve is long gone on this show.
Okay.
As far as getting to the elimination or the selection process, rather, what's his name? Tech kind of indicates to Ayanna, listen, we're not going to be talking. No word. Just because Tech knows if Ayanna goes, a little louder and causes some problems, kicks up some dust, it could really be a bad thing for Tech's game. So he kind of keeps her at bay initially. They all do their voting, and then it turns out that, well, actually, everything's kind of done. And then Ayanna goes, you know what, Jody? I did eat your salad. What do you think about Ayanna's performance? I mean, I feel like it was still mean, but it was done so funny that you almost have to laugh.
I mean, I guess Ayanna she's not scared of the arena. So I guess at that point, you can say whatever you want. But if I'm her partner, I'm like, come on, man. Like, just, we're out of here. Like, let it go. Mm-hmm. But TV-wise, it's pretty funny.
It was so funny, Richard. I mean, she was licking her fingers one by one. Even Jody in the confessional was like, am I supposed to, is she trying to get me to have an emotion? And like
that's how you get a callback for next season because of the salad.
Because of the salad. Yeah. You know, and again, Jody doesn't know. She's like, do I play into it? If I play into it, it could become a problem for me. And it's true. Jody's game is so good right now. You don't need to go down a route that's going to come off of your game plan. But then on the Ayana side, who's already been good enough to be asked back, right? She's already done enough. She goes, and she licks every finger and she goes, it was so good, Jody. So I took that salad and I ate it. It made me feel warm. It made me feel whole, like a man was sitting next to me. I was like, she is just, it's like a 2.0 of her original uniform, you know, moment. Is, you know, it's still her, but she's, you know, taking it to the next level. Funny for everyone, even like I said, even Jody. I wasn't fond of the Tanya Harding comment, but you know, okay. Everything else I guess made sense and was fun. That was at the moment that Ayana and Tech were up for selection, but ultimately it's not going to be them. Ultimately it's going to be Melinda and Nehemiah going up against Jasmine and Latarian, which sort of puts us back to that moment as we talked about, where like everyone within their team or their alliance are like, dang, like it's going to be sad either way, because you know, essentially 2 of ours are going to be going home within our teammates, you know, the people that are going to be our allies. So I could see how it's, you know, it's frustrating. Latarian's up there, you know, Nehemiah's up there. One of them is going home. Jasmine,
that safety palace is crumbling.
At this point, it is, right. It is
They
kind
got
of
to
doing
check
that.
foundation.
Yeah. What do you call it? Oh, real quick. Just to go back. When Ayana was doing that, she was giving that epic you know, monologue. The song that was being played was Bad, which was Willa Ford's song, which was such an early 2000s song. Like this,
Who's
that's like
Willa?
huh?
Who's Willa?
I said Willa Ford. She was a singer.
Who's that?
She used to. Why are you saying what's that? It doesn't matter.
No, because I don't know songs that well like you.
No, but my
You got
point.
it down.
No, it's not about that. It's about, it was the perfect song in the thing, and it was a great like TRL song of the moment. You know what I mean? She even hosted TRL for a little bit.
Oh, I do know TRL. Where's Carson?
Yeah. No, so I'm saying it was a good song connected. That's all I'm saying. So
No,
anyways,
I've heard of her name, but I don't know the song.
okay. Moving on to the arena though. Okay. Arena. So same alliance, similar alliance. It's like clockwork is the as we're in the arena, right? You have to figure out one of the 6 gear combinations down in the case, and then only one works from below. And then once figured out, you got to send it to the partners, where the partners could be, they're standing in this little section where they have to try to load it correctly, and they have to spin it around. But it's not going to spin if
It's like
not.
a spin wheel of puzzles to get like it all working together.
Yeah. And it's basically going to be the last life shield, which by the way, there's been life shields all the way through, right? There wasn't a life shield that had gotten taken away. Every single season, every single episode, there was a life shield, I believe. It's just a matter
for this season.
It was just a matter if it was being used or not, which really hadn't been used that much. It was used if it was burnt, which if it's burnt, it's already known. But there's never been a moment where it was used. It's kind of dumb. But he does announce that there's, it is. But he does announce that it's the last life shield. TJ does, which is great because this life shield does kind of indicate, well, this puts you to the final. So that's actually a really good part about it for the first time. Melinda and Nehemiah end up winning. I to that think, ugh, the 2 of them, but okay, good for them, right?
Yeah, Team Austin.
Do you like them? Is that what you like the 2 of them?
Yeah, what's not to like?
No, I mean, you're reacting to like, I don't think they're the most compelling, but you do enjoy them.
No, they're fine. They're whatever to me.
If you got to pick, if you were doing like, you always play like a fantasy football and stuff, do you pick?
I picked them over Latarian and Jasmine.
Okay, well that's a solid answer. I
think they have a chance. I think they have a chance to win. Nehemiah and Melinda.
I won't say you're wrong about that. Yeah, I won't say you're wrong about that. I won't. Were you frustrated on a stance of them all being in the same alliance, that Latarian really had a hard time with Jasmine on that elimination?
Well, I mean, Latarian's gone through a bunch of these and stuff, and him with Jasmine. I don't know. I like Jasmine. Like I said, I think she's one of my favorite on the confessionals. I would love to see her back, but it's almost when you see a person get a freebie time after time, you're kind of just like, all right, you've been eliminated almost how many times? You got life shields for nothing. It's like,
Yeah.
do you really? Yeah.
I feel similarly for Latarian, with that same mindset of not that he got the 9 lives, but
like the opposite mindset. He went in a couple times and came back, so he deserves to be there.
And most important is that he went home so early season 1. So while he didn't get as far as I would have liked him to go season 2, and even while he aligned with people, that wouldn't have not been my choice of alignment, but he did. That's where he went. I still wanted to see him do good to the point where Latarian's name sits a little higher. And I think for that, he accomplished that. So
in general, yeah, I agree with that. And maybe if they weren't so loud and proud about their alliance, they could have stayed under the radar for another week or two where they weren't getting for sure thrown in. After the safety palace, they were getting for sure thrown in if they didn't win.
Well, I think Latarian, he played the Steve game the first time. Not necessarily. Don't let me finish. He played the Steve game in the sense where he just played the game. He didn't get the concept of
Steve Sanders.
He didn't get the concept of. I mean, he got the concept, but he didn't necessarily. He didn't have. You have to also have a good social game. So I think season 1, if you watch season 1 Latarian and season 2 Latarian of the challenge, it's like he almost went too far with his like connecting with Nehemiah, being like this, I'm gonna get you, caricature almost. He did well, but I want to see kind of like a middle of the road for his 3rd season where he gets that I gotta be in with the people. I gotta be social. Game has to be good. Strategy has to be good, but then not rolling with the team like Nehemiah, who doesn't really do anything other than putting a target on his back. You know what I mean?
Well, it could have worked out. I don't think Nehemiah and Melinda really ever came in the bottom. But Tech and Ayana did, and Latarian came in bottom a couple times. Steve came, so all their people came in last place, which means they went automatically in there. And I think Latarian had a good shot if Kendall stays in.
Oh, wow. I like that. This is why we do the show. I think that's interesting. It's not taken away from Jasmine, by the way. And it's not taken away from Latarian, who's he aligning with. But you're right. Latarian and Kendall and what, maybe that would be interesting. Mm-hmm. But that's the nature of the game. No matter how hard you strategize, you don't expect your teammate to be hurt like that and have to leave. You don't expect CoHosted. CoHosted doesn't expect Casey to get pregnant. This is what makes the game so good.
Well, it's one of the things Devin said in the main chip show. One of the main things when you have like a game like this, you don't want to come last because you're in automatically. And probably the second most important thing is don't get hurt, because if you're hurt and you got sent home, you're automatically out of the game. So if you got to give up a win for the day just to stay healthy and not get in that, jump off that cliff or twist an ankle, or say there's 4 big people going after a ball, like, you think you're going to get hurt or someone's on your leg, like, here, take the ball, get off my leg, don't get injured and kicked out of the season.
Very, very true. Okay. Any last thoughts of where we're at so far? I believe the season 1 run was 9 episodes. The season with 2 episodes broken into finale, or the final rather. I believe season 2 is 10 episode order with 1 episode as the final, I believe, or maybe the beginning and a continuation. Either way, I think the challenges have been really fun. I think it feels like I'm watching a different show, but it's still the cousin of the regular challenge, which is great. And I like where we're going. I'm stand corrected a little on some of these cast members because I could not tell you enough. I think I texted you initially, Richard. I was like, oh wow, why are they picking this? Some of these cast members are some of my least favorite on their actual programs, let alone a challenge. But the way the way Steve was fine. Steve was on the quest, I believe. Yeah, he was with Katie. He was with Sophia. No, was he before?
He was so good with Katie, he got her kicked out.
Well, maybe he'll come back next season and he'll start, going the Latarian route where he's like, oh my gosh, I just kind of played this game and didn't really tie in with alliances and strategy, and maybe he'll play harder next time. Not a comparison.
Rule number 1, don't go after your own alliance.
Not a comparison. That's not what Latarian did, but you see what I'm saying. Anyways, I'm looking forward to seeing what the final looks like. I'm looking forward to seeing,
TJ's final.
We've of course seen the rumblings of the cast members for Challenge All-Stars 3. I believe they filmed it right after each other, but I think the brand is strong. I think the brand is good enough. And like I said, the one thing I was worried about, I was like, oh, the age of them getting a little older is going to make it hard for this show to continue on so many seasons. Maybe it was just a Paramount Plus, like a promotional thing to launch all these nostalgic shows. But knowing that the Survivor's out there and they don't have an age limit, Amazing Race, it's telling me that the Challenge All-Stars formula is going to work. That's what I feel. Are you feeling the same?
Well, kudos the Godfather, right? Mark Long.
I mean,
for setting it all up.
Was he the one that really did it?
I mean, he wasn't he an executive producer in the first season?
I don't know. I feel like maybe he tweeted a couple times. By a couple, I mean 10,000 times. But I'm pretty sure
that's where it starts.
Paramount Plus was launching already.
You got beef with Mark? I didn't know you had beef with Mark as well.
No, Paramount Plus was launching. We can't give all the credit to Mark unless he does have the reason to have credit.
What do they say? Preparation meets perfect timing.
I know, Richard, but if Paramount Plus was already launching something and they were already conceptually coming up with perfect programs, time. You can't make it that's like saying I created I don't what did he create, Richard? What did he create is the question. He tweeted, hey, would you guys like to see some old OGs play together? The people were already putting these types of shows together. Is that a hater comment? Do you think?
Yes. Okay. All right. See you on the next one.
I'll look and see if he's an executive producer. I of course show support and show, I think he went to his Twitter and Instagram and was like, oh, it started as an idea, this. But my point is you didn't really start it. You tweeted a couple times, but did you start it? I don't know. And why is he not on season 2? That's the question.
That's true. He was good on season 1.
He was great on season 1. Yeah, for sure. Okay. That wraps up episode. Check this out. Okay. Episode 4 recap, 5 recap, 6 recap, 7 recap, and 8 recap. Because of our schedules, there was so much going on. We were almost not going to do this season because we did the initial episodes and then there was a big break. And we finally got to do them all in one sitting. So if you enjoy the fact that this may have not been our best, I will admit, maybe not my best work, but the point is that we bothered to at least get this done, me and my brother Richard, and our respective schedules. And if you like it, do show support to everything else, RandomlyRonnieJr.com, and the Patreon is patreon.com/RandomlyRonnieJr, because the reality is within my programming, I do, there's 30 episodes every 3 days, it feels like, right? But I didn't want to leave the Challenge All-Stars not covered. And it's something that I get to do with my brother that is fun. I won't say anything else because at the top of the episode here, he was saying I was being too sentimental. And I assure you, bitch.
Hey, you're an all-star. Is that Smash Mouth?
I'm not sentimental. Okay, it's time to go to sleep for you. Okay?
You're an all-star.
Goodness. This has been the Challenge All-Stars season 2 recap for another random recap. That's Richard. Say bye, Rich.
Yeah.
or that. And I'm Randomly Ronnie Jr. We'll talk to you on the next one. Thank you.